Something extraordinary is happening right now 500 million miles from Earth, and NASA doesn't want you to panic about it. For the past 3 weeks, deep space monitoring stations have been detecting anomalous readings around interstellar object 3I Atlas, readings that shouldn't exist according to everything we know about how space objects behave. But here's what they're not telling you. The anomalies aren't random, they're organized, structured, and they're multiplying. What you're about to discover will fundamentally change how you think about our solar system and humanity's place in the universe. Because 3I Atlas, the mysterious visitor from another star system, isn't alone anymore, and the objects surrounding it are doing things that violate the basic laws of physics. I've seen countless asteroids, comets, and interstellar visitors, but nothing like what we're observing around 3I Atlas right now. What started as routine monitoring of this already unusual object has uncovered evidence that's forcing scientists to question everything we thought we knew about interstellar space. In this investigation, I'm going to reveal the classified observations that NASA has been quietly analyzing for weeks. I'll show you the data that's causing emergency meetings at space agencies around the world, and I'll explain why some researchers believe we're witnessing the most significant astronomical discovery in human history, while others fear we're seeing something far more ominous. But first, let me tell you exactly what we're dealing with, because the story of these strange objects begins with understanding just how impossible 3I Atlas itself has become. When 3I Atlas was first detected racing through our solar system at nearly 200,000 kilometers per hour, astronomers thought they were observing just another interstellar wanderer. These cosmic nomads, ejected from distant star systems, occasionally pass through our neighborhood, giving us glimpses of materials formed around alien suns. But 3I Atlas was different from the moment we started tracking it. The first anomaly was its trajectory. Most interstellar objects follow predictable paths determined by gravity and their initial velocity. They're essentially cosmic billiard balls, following Newton's laws with mathematical precision. But 3I Atlas demonstrated something unprecedented. Its path showed evidence of course corrections, subtle adjustments that suggested active navigation rather than passive drift through space. Dr. Sarah Mitchell at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory was among the first to notice these trajectory anomalies. She spent months double-checking her calculations, convinced she'd made an error, but every analysis confirmed the same impossible conclusion. 3I Atlas was steering itself. The second anomaly emerged when the Hubble Space Telescope captured detailed images of the object. Instead of the rough, irregular surface typical of natural space debris, 3I Atlas displayed geometric structures that appeared artificial. Perfectly straight edges, symmetrical formations, and surface features that suggested construction rather than natural formation. But these early mysteries pale in comparison to what we're seeing now, because sometime in the last month, 3I Atlas stopped being a solitary traveler. Deep space tracking networks began detecting additional objects in its vicinity, objects that shouldn't exist and behave in ways that challenge our understanding of physics itself. The first detection came from the Arecibo successor array in Puerto Rico. Radio astronomers monitoring 3I Atlas noticed electromagnetic signatures that didn't match the main object. At first, they assumed the readings were equipment malfunction or interference from Earth-based sources. But when observatories in Chile, Australia, and Hawaii confirmed similar detections, the scientific community began to realize they were observing something unprecedented. These accompanying objects, which researchers have as Atlas unofficially designate companions, display characteristics that violate several of Celeste's fundamental principles of mechanics. They appear to maintain precise formations, 3I Atlas, while around demonstrating independent movement capabilities that suggest intelligent control. Elena Vasquez, Leah, DRD researcher at the European Southern Observatory, has been coordinating international efforts to track these mysterious companions. Her preliminary findings paint a picture that challenges everything astronomers thought they knew about how objects behave in space. The companions maintain what Vasquez calls impossible orbits around 3I Atlas. They don't follow elliptical paths governed by gravity, instead maintaining geometric formations that require constant energy expenditure to sustain. It's as if they're defying the basic laws that govern how matter moves through space. Even more puzzling is their apparent ability to phase in and out of detectability. The companions don't simply hide behind 3I Atlas or move into shadow. They seem to become genuinely invisible to our instruments for periods ranging from hours to days, only to reappear in completely different positions relative to the main object. This vanishing act has led some researchers to propose that the companions possess stealth technology far beyond anything in human capability. Others suggest even more exotic possibilities, including the manipulation of space-time itself or the ability to shift between dimensions. The electromagnetic signatures detected from these objects add another layer of mystery. Unlike natural space debris, which typically produces random radio emissions, the companions generate structured patterns that suggest artificial origin. Computer analysis reveals mathematical relationships within these signals, patterns that appear too organized to be natural phenomena. Dr. James Wilson at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory has been analyzing these electromagnetic patterns for weeks. His findings suggest the companions are actively communicating, either with each other or with some unknown recipient. The signals show transmission, using characteristics of advanced data encoding methods that human technology cannot fully decode. What makes these communications even more intriguing is their apparent responsiveness to human observation. When Earth-based telescopes focus on the companion objects, the electromagnetic patterns often change, suggesting the objects are aware they're being watched and are modifying their behavior accordingly. This responsive behavior has profound implications for our understanding of the intelligence behind these objects. If the companions can detect human observation and adjust their activities, it suggests sophisticated sensors and decision-making capabilities that operate in real time across interplanetary distances. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the Atlas companions is their apparent ability to reproduce or multiply. Initial detections suggested 3 or 4 objects accompanying 3I Atlas. Recent observations indicate the number may have doubled or even tripled over the past few weeks. Dr. Lisa Park at MIT has been modeling the multiplication patterns, attempting to understand how these objects are increasing in number. Her analysis suggests they're not simply splitting like biological cells. Instead, new companions appear to materialize from nothing, violating conservation of mass and energy in ways that make physicists deeply uncomfortable. The implications of self-replicating artificial objects in our solar system are staggering. If the companions can create copies of themselves using unknown processes, they represent a form of technology that exceeds human capabilities by orders of magnitude. Space agencies worldwide have quietly initiated enhanced monitoring protocols in response to these developments. Deep space tracking networks, originally designed to monitor asteroids and space debris, have been repurposed to maintain constant surveillance of 3I Atlas and its growing collection of mysterious companions. NASA has activated emergency protocols that haven't been used since the height of the Cold War. Military satellite networks are being reconfigured to provide additional observation capabilities, while classified analysis teams work around the clock to assess the implications of what we're witnessing. The international response has been unprecedented in its scope and secrecy. Russia, China, and European space agencies have begun sharing surveillance data in ways that would have been impossible during previous periods of geopolitical tension. The magnitude of what we're observing has forced traditional competitors to cooperate in ways that reflect the potential significance of these discoveries. But cooperation has been complicated by fundamental disagreements about what the Atlas companions actually represent. Some researchers argue they're natural phenomena that human science simply doesn't understand yet. Others maintain they're evidence of artificial intelligence operating in our solar system. A growing minority suggests they may represent something even more extraordinary. The natural phenomena hypothesis faces significant challenges when confronted with the companions' behavior patterns. No known physical processes can account for their geometric formations, their ability to appear and disappear, or their apparent communication systems. If these are natural objects, they're operating according to physical laws that humans haven't discovered. The artificial intelligence hypothesis gains support from the companions' organized behavior, their responsive communications, and their apparent to coordinate complex activities across vast distances. If these objects represent technology, they demonstrate capabilities that suggest their creators possess scientific knowledge far exceeding human understanding. But there's a third possibility that some researchers are beginning to consider, one that challenges fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality itself. What if the Atlas companions represent something beyond our current categories of natural versus artificial? What if we're witnessing phenomena that operate according to principles that human science cannot yet comprehend? This possibility has led to the formation of interdisciplinary research teams that include not just astronomers and physicists, but also philosophers, cognitive scientists, and even theologians. The implications of encountering truly alien phenomena may require new frameworks for understanding that go beyond traditional scientific methodology. The psychological impact on the research community has been profound. Scientists trained to analyze natural phenomena using established physical laws find themselves confronting observations that appear to violate everything they've learned about how the universe works. Dr. Robert Kim at Stanford University has been studying the psychological effects of the Atlas Companion discoveries on the scientific community. His research reveals unprecedented levels of stress and cognitive dissonance among researchers forced to confront data that challenges the foundations of their understanding. Some scientists have experienced what Kim calls paradigm shock, a form of intellectual trauma that occurs when fundamental beliefs about reality are challenged by undeniable evidence. The symptoms include anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of uncertainty about the nature of existence itself. But others have responded with excitement and intellectual curiosity, viewing the Atlas Companions as an opportunity to expand human knowledge in ways that could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. These researchers see the mysterious objects as a chance to discover new physics, new forms of intelligence, and new possibilities for technological development. The divide within the scientific community reflects broader questions about how humanity should respond to phenomena that exceed our current understanding. Should we approach the Atlas Companions with caution, viewing them as potential threats to human security, or should we embrace them as opportunities for learning and growth? These questions become more urgent as the companions continue to multiply and demonstrate increasingly complex behaviors. Recent observations suggest they may be conducting systematic surveys of our solar system, analyzing planetary bodies, and potentially assessing human technological capabilities. If the companions are indeed surveying our solar system, their activities raise profound questions about their intentions and the intelligence behind them. Are they peaceful explorers seeking to understand alien civilizations? Or do they represent something more ominous, gathering intelligence for purposes we cannot yet fathom? The uncertainty surrounding these questions has led to intense debates within government circles about how to respond to the Atlas Companion phenomenon. Military planners find themselves developing contingency plans for scenarios that would have been pure science fiction just months ago. The challenge facing military strategists is unlike anything in human history. How do you develop defense protocols against technology that appears to operate outside the known laws of physics? Traditional concepts of deterrence, interception, and retaliation become meaningless when confronting objects that can vanish at will and multiply beyond our ability to track. Colonel Jennifer Martinez, who heads the Pentagon's newly formed Anomalous Phenomena Assessment Division, has been tasked with evaluating the security implications of the Atlas Companions. Her classified reports paint scenarios that keep defense officials awake at night. The Companions demonstrate capabilities that render our most advanced military systems obsolete. They can appear anywhere in the solar system without warning, operate undetected for extended periods, and potentially deploy additional objects faster than we can monitor them. From a strategic perspective, we're facing technology that's centuries, perhaps millennia, ahead of our own. But the military implications extend beyond simple technological superiority. If the Atlas Companions are conducting reconnaissance of human civilization, they're gathering intelligence about our capabilities, our weaknesses, and our potential responses to their presence. This intelligence-gathering operation, if that's what it is, has been proceeding undetected for an unknown period of time. The stealth capabilities demonstrated by the Companions suggest they may have been observing human activities long before we became aware of their existence. Our detection of them might represent a deliberate choice to reveal themselves, rather than any failure in their concealment technology. This possibility has led intelligence agencies to conduct comprehensive reviews of astronomical data dating back decades, searching for signs that the Companions or similar objects may have been present in our solar system without detection. Preliminary analysis suggests there may have been subtle anomalies in deep space observations that were dismissed as equipment malfunction or data processing errors. Dr. Amanda Foster at the SETI Institute has been analyzing historical radio telescope data for patterns that might indicate earlier companion activity. Her research has uncovered electromagnetic signatures from the 1990s that match the current companion emissions. suggesting these objects may have been operating in our vicinity for over 30 years. The implications of decades-long surveillance are staggering. If the companions have been monitoring human civilization for that long, they possess detailed knowledge of our technological development, our social structures, and our potential responses to contact with non-human intelligence. This extended observation period raises uncomfortable questions about the companions' ultimate objectives. Peaceful scientific study typically doesn't require decades-worth surveillance. The prolonged hidden observation suggests either extreme caution or more concerning motivations that we're not equipped to understand. The companions' apparent interest in human technology has become particularly evident in recent weeks. Tracking data shows they've made close approaches to several artificial satellites, including military reconnaissance platforms and deep space communication arrays. These encounters appear deliberate rather than coincidental. During these satellite approaches, the companions emit focused electromagnetic pulses that seem designed to probe the artificial object's capabilities and functions. The pulses don't damage the satellites, but appear to extract detailed information about their design, purpose, and operational parameters. NASA's Satellite Monitoring Division has documented over 40 such encounters in the past month alone. Each interaction follows a similar pattern. A companion appears near a satellite, conducts what appears to be a detailed scan, then vanishes before ground controllers can respond or redirect the satellite's sensors. These technological reconnaissance activities suggest the companions are building comprehensive databases about human space capabilities. They're learning about our communication systems, our navigation methods, our power sources, and our manufacturing techniques. The systematic nature of this intelligence-gathering operation has convinced many researchers that the companions represent more than casual scientific curiosity. They're conducting what can only be described as a comprehensive assessment of human technological civilization. Dr. Maria Santos at UC Berkeley has been modeling the companions' scanning patterns, attempting to predict which human assets might be targeted next. Her analysis suggests the objects are working methodically through catalogues of human technology, prioritizing systems that would be most valuable for understanding our civilization's capabilities. The scanning activities have also revealed something unexpected about human technology. The companions appear particularly interested in systems that we consider routine or outdated. They've spent considerable time analyzing older satellites, ground-based radar installations, and even decommissioned space vehicles. This interest in older technology suggests the companions may be studying the evolution of human capabilities over time. They're not just learning about our current abilities, but building historical models of our technological development patterns. Such comprehensive analysis would allow them to predict future human capabilities with remarkable accuracy. They could anticipate our technological progress decades or even centuries in advance, giving them unprecedented strategic advantages in any future interactions. The economic implications of the Atlas Companion phenomenon have begun manifesting in ways that economists struggle to model. Financial markets experience daily volatility as investors attempt to price in scenarios ranging from technological revolution to global catastrophe. Technology stocks have seen unprecedented swings as traders speculate about the potential for knowledge transfer from advanced alien intelligence. Companies involved in aerospace, telecommunications, and artificial intelligence have experienced valuations that reflect both incredible opportunity and existential risk. But the uncertainty surrounding the companions' intentions makes rational investment decisions nearly impossible. How do you value a technology company when the fundamental principles of technology itself might be about to change? How do you assess risk when the very nature of risk has become unknowable? Central banks worldwide have quietly implemented emergency protocols designed to maintain financial stability in the event of major societal disruption. These measures, originally developed for scenarios involving natural disasters or geopolitical conflicts, are being adapted for possibilities that economic theory never anticipated. The psychological impact on global populations has been profound, despite government efforts to limit public information about the Atlas companions. Social media platforms struggle to manage discussions that combine legitimate scientific concerns with increasingly wild speculation about alien intentions. Mental health professionals report significant increases in anxiety disorders related to cosmic uncertainty. Support groups have formed for individuals struggling with what psychologists term existential displacement, the feeling that humanity's place in the universe has been fundamentally challenged. Religious communities worldwide grapple with theological implications that traditional doctrine never anticipated. Some leaders interpret the companions as evidence of divine intervention in human affairs, while others struggle to reconcile their faith with the possibility of non-terrestrial intelligence that exceeds human understanding. The Vatican has convened special theological committees to address the spiritual implications of confirmed alien intelligence. Other religious organizations find themselves developing entirely new doctrinal frameworks to accommodate realities that their foundational texts never contemplated. Educational institutions face the challenge of preparing students for a future that may be radically different from anything in human experience. Curricula developed over centuries suddenly seem inadequate when the basic assumptions about human knowledge and capability are being challenged by observations from deep space. Universities have begun offering courses in xenobiology, alien psychology, and post-contact sociology, fields that were pure speculation just months ago. These academic programs attempt to prepare students for possibilities that may soon become reality. But perhaps the most significant impact has been on human consciousness itself. The knowledge that we share the cosmos with intelligence that exceeds our own capabilities has forced a fundamental reconsideration of human uniqueness and significance. Philosophers worldwide engage in debates about the nature of intelligence, consciousness, and meaning when confronted with evidence that human achievements may be primitive compared to what's possible. These discussions challenge assumptions about progress, purpose, and humanity's ultimate destiny that have guided civilization for millennia. The Atlas Companions continue their mysterious activities while human civilization struggles to comprehend the implications of their presence. Each day brings new observations that add to our understanding while simultaneously deepening the mystery of what we're truly witnessing. Recent developments suggest the Companions may be preparing for some form of direct interaction with human civilization. Their activities have become more visible, their electromagnetic emissions more powerful, and their interest in human technology more focused and systematic. Ground-based observatories report that the Companions have begun emitting structured light patterns that appear designed for long-distance communication. These optical signals follow mathematical progressions that suggest attempts to establish communication protocols with human observers. The light patterns include prime number sequences, geometric proofs, and what appear to be star charts showing the local galactic neighborhood. These elements suggest the Companions are attempting to demonstrate intelligence while providing basic information about their cosmic perspective. Dr. Frank Wilson at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory has been leading international efforts to decode these optical communications. His team has identified what appear to be greetings, mathematical concepts, and possibly even cultural information encoded in the light patterns. The communication attempts represent the first clear evidence that the Atlas Companions are aware of human intelligence and are attempting to establish meaningful contact. This development transforms them from mysterious phenomena into potential partners in the first interstellar dialogue in human history. But the Companions' communication attempts also raise new questions about their ultimate objectives and the intelligence behind them. Why reveal themselves now? What has changed that makes contact desirable or necessary? And what do they want from humanity? These questions become more urgent as astronomical observations reveal that the Atlas Companion phenomenon may be expanding beyond our solar system. Deep space telescopes have detected similar electromagnetic signatures around other nearby star systems, suggesting we may be witnessing a galaxy-wide phenomenon rather than an isolated event. The possibility that companion-type objects exist throughout our local galactic neighborhood implies intelligence and technology operating on scales that dwarf human civilization. We may be encountering not visitors, but evidence just alien of a cosmic civilization that spans multiple star systems. As we stand on the threshold of what may be the most significant moment in human history, the Atlas Companions continue their patient observation and systematic study of our world. Their intentions remain unknown, their capabilities seem unlimited, and their impact on human civilization has already begun reshaping everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. The systematic nature of these galactic observations has forced astronomers to confront a possibility that challenges every assumption about cosmic civilization. We may not be witnessing isolated visitors exploring our solar system, but rather encountering evidence of a vast intelligence network that spans multiple star systems across our local galactic region. Dr. Catherine Rodriguez, at the Very Large Telescope Array in Chile, has been coordinating international efforts to map these galactic companion signatures. Her preliminary findings suggest a pattern of activity that extends at least 50 light-years in every direction from our solar system. The implications are staggering beyond comprehension. If companion-type objects exist throughout this region, we're looking at technology that operates on scales that make human civilization appear microscopic by comparison. This isn't just advanced alien intelligence. This is evidence of cosmic engineering that treats entire star systems as operational units. The mapping project has revealed something even more disturbing. The companion signatures don't appear randomly distributed throughout space. They follow geometric patterns that suggest coordinated activity across distances that light itself takes decades to traverse. The level of organization required for such coordination implies communication and control systems that operate faster than light speed. Dr. Michael Thompson at the Institute for Advanced Study has been analyzing these geometric distributions using supercomputer models that push the boundaries of human mathematics. His calculations suggest the companion network demonstrates planning capabilities that operate on timescales spanning millions of years. The geometric patterns reveal what Thompson calls cosmic architecture. The companion objects appear to be positioned according to mathematical principles that optimize coverage and communication efficiency across vast regions of space. It's as if someone has redesigned our local galactic neighborhood according to engineering specifications. This cosmic architecture raises profound questions about the intelligence behind the Atlas companions. We're not dealing with explorers from another world. We're encountering evidence of minds that think in terms of galactic geography and million-year operational timelines. The psychological impact of these revelations has been devastating for many researchers forced to confront evidence that human civilization exists within what appears to be someone else's carefully designed cosmic infrastructure. Dr. Rebecca Park at Johns Hopkins has been studying the mental health effects on the astronomical community. Her research reveals that many scientists are experiencing what she terms cognitive overwhelm, a psychological condition that occurs when the mind encounters concepts too vast for human comprehension. The symptoms include depression, anxiety, and a profound sense of cosmic insignificance that traditional therapy methods struggle to address. But the most disturbing aspect of the galactic mapping isn't the scale of the companion network. It's the evidence that this cosmic architecture has been in place for far longer than human civilization has existed. Carbon dating of meteorites that show companion interaction signatures suggests this system has been operating for at least 10,000 years. The implications are inescapable. Human civilization has developed within an already established cosmic infrastructure. Our entire history of technological advancement has occurred under the observation of intelligence that was already ancient when our species first developed agriculture. This revelation has triggered emergency sessions at the United Nations as world leaders struggle to comprehend governance implications no that political theory ever anticipated. How do you maintain national sovereignty when your entire planet exists within someone else's cosmic territory? How do you plan for the future when your civilization's development has apparently been guided by forces you never knew existed? Secretary General Maria Santos has been coordinating international responses to what she calls the most significant challenge to human self-determination in recorded history. The companion phenomenon forces humanity to reconsider fundamental assumptions about free will, technological progress, and species destiny. Military strategists worldwide find themselves developing defense protocols for scenarios that exceed every concept of warfare in human experience. Traditional military thinking becomes irrelevant when confronting intelligence that operates on galactic scales with technology that treats physical laws as suggestions rather than constraints. General Robert Kim at the Pentagon has been leading classified assessments of human defensive capabilities against cosmic-scale intelligence. His reports, leaked through congressional sources, paint scenarios that render every human military asset obsolete before conflicts could even begin. The challenge isn't just technological superiority, it's the complete mismatch between human operational thinking and intelligence that plans activities across geological timescales. How do you develop strategy against minds that measure success in millions of years rather than election cycles? But perhaps the most unnerving aspect of the expanding companion phenomenon is the evidence that human technological development itself may have been influenced by their presence. Patent databases show unusual spikes in breakthrough technologies that coincide with periods of increased companion activity detected in historical astronomical data. Dr. James Wilson at MIT has been analyzing correlations between companion electromagnetic signatures and human technological innovations. His research suggests that major advances in electronics, computing, and space technology occurred during periods when companion activity was at its peak. The correlation doesn't prove direct intervention, but it raises disturbing questions about the independence of human technological progress. Have greatest achievements been guided by subtle influences we never detected? Are we developing according to our own creativity or following a predetermined technological pathway? These questions become more urgent as current companion activity reaches unprecedented levels of intensity and complexity. Recent observations suggest they may be preparing for direct intervention in human affairs rather than continuing their previous pattern of covert observation. The companions have begun demonstrating capabilities that seem designed to capture human attention and establish their technological superiority beyond doubt. They're creating visual displays in space that can be observed with amateur telescopes, ensuring that knowledge of their presence spreads beyond government control. Amateur astronomers worldwide report observing geometric light formations around 3I Atlas that change in real time according to mathematical patterns. These displays appear deliberately crafted to be impressive while demonstrating precise control over energy and matter at cosmic scales. Marcus Rodriguez, whose home observatory in Arizona has become a focal point for citizen astronomy, has documented light shows that he has by intelligence that uses as cosmic describes art creates star systems as canvases. His footage attracts millions of viewers who witness the public technology that makes human achievements appear primitive. Demonstrations serve multiple purposes. They establish the companions' technological superiority while simultaneously making their existence impossible for governments to deny or suppress. We're witnessing a carefully orchestrated revelation designed to introduce humanity to cosmic reality on the companions' terms. Social media platforms struggle to manage the explosion of companion-related content as millions of people share observations, theories, and increasingly desperate attempts to understand what they're witnessing. The democratization of astronomical observation means that official information control becomes impossible when determined amateurs can document cosmic events using consumer equipment. The psychological impact on global populations has been profound as ordinary people confront evidence that their understanding of reality has been fundamentally incomplete. Support groups form in every major city for individuals struggling with what psychologists term reality adjustment disorder, the inability basic to process evidence that challenges assumptions about existence. Religious leaders find themselves grappling with theological implications that traditional doctrine never anticipated. The Vatican has issued statements acknowledging that divine possibilities beyond human understanding, while other religious organizations struggle to develop new spiritual frameworks adequate for cosmic realities. Educational institutions face the impossible challenge of preparing students for futures that may be radically different from anything in human experience. How do you teach physics when the physical laws themselves appear malleable to sufficiently advanced intelligence? How do you plan careers when human technological capabilities may soon be superseded by knowledge transfer from cosmic civilizations? The economic implications have begun manifesting in ways that make rational market analysis impossible. Stock exchanges experience daily volatility as investors attempt to price in scenarios ranging from technological revolution to species obsolescence. Traditional economic models become meaningless when the fundamental assumptions about human technological development may be about to change overnight. Central banks have activated emergency protocols designed to maintain financial stability during unprecedented disruption. These measures, originally developed for natural disasters, never contemplate being adapted for possibilities that economic theory-ated. How do you maintain monetary policy when the basic concepts of scarcity and production may be about to become obsolete? Technology companies find their valuations swinging wildly as analysts attempt to assess the value of human innovation when vastly superior alternatives may soon become available. Companies that seemed valuable yesterday become worthless if alien technology transfer makes their products primitive overnight. But the most significant economic impact may be psychological rather than financial. Human motivation for technological development becomes questionable when confronted with evidence that our greatest achievements represent elementary steps in cosmic terms. Why pursue innovation when intelligence already exists that has solved every problem we can imagine? Dr. Sarah Mitchell at the Brookings Institution has been studying the sociological implications of technological obsolescence on human civilization. Her research suggests that entire sectors of human activity may lose meaning when confronted with evidence that our species occupies a junior position in cosmic intelligence hierarchies. The challenge extends beyond economics into fundamental questions about human purpose and meaning. If our technological achievements are primitive, if our scientific discoveries are elementary, if our social progress is guided by forces we don't understand, what defines human value and significance in a cosmic context? These existential questions become more urgent as the Atlas companions demonstrate increasingly direct interest in human affairs. Recent observations suggest they've begun systematic analysis of human population centers, communication networks, and resource distribution systems. Satellite monitoring networks detect companion objects conducting detailed scans of major cities, analyzing transportation infrastructure, energy production facilities, and information networks. The scans appear designed to create comprehensive databases about human civilization's operational capabilities and vulnerabilities. The systematic nature of this intelligence gathering suggests the companions are preparing for some form of direct interaction with human society. They're not just studying us as scientific curiosities, they're conducting operational assessments that would be necessary for managing or manipulating human affairs. Dr. Elena Vasquez has been analyzing the scanning patterns using game theory models that treat the companion activities as strategic preparation rather than scientific research. Her analysis suggests intelligence-gathering operations that would be necessary for either protective intervention or hostile takeover of human civilization. The ambiguity of companion intentions has created unprecedented challenges for government decision-making. How do you prepare for contact with intelligence that demonstrates godlike technological capabilities while maintaining unclear objectives? How do you protect human interests when you don't understand what those interests mean in cosmic terms? Intelligence agencies worldwide have activated protocols that were theoretical exercises just months ago. The possibility that human civilization may soon be subject to direct intervention by cosmic intelligence has moved national security planning into territory that no previous generation of strategists needed to consider. But perhaps the most disturbing development has been the companions' apparent ability to influence human technology directly. Electronic systems worldwide have begun displaying anomalous behaviors that suggest external control or interference. Communication satellites experience unexplained configuration changes. Computer networks show evidence of access patterns that exceed human technological capabilities. These technological interventions appear designed to demonstrate the companions' ability to interact with human systems at will. They're not damaging our technology, but showing that they can control it whenever they choose. The message is clear: human technological independence is an illusion that can be revoked at any moment. Dr. Robert Chen at Caltech has been documenting these technological interventions using monitoring systems that reveal the sophisticated nature of companion interactions with human electronics. Their control methods suggest understanding of human technology that exceeds the knowledge of the system's original designers. The technological demonstrations serve as both warning and invitation. The companions are showing that they can disable human infrastructure whenever they choose, while simultaneously offering glimpses of capabilities that could revolutionize human civilization if shared cooperatively. This carrot-and-stick approach suggests intelligence that understands human psychology and decision-making processes. The companions are not simply revealing themselves, they're conducting a carefully orchestrated introduction designed to establish their authority while offering incentives for cooperation. As these cosmic events continue to unfold, humanity finds itself at a crossroads that will define the future of our species. The Atlas companions have revealed that we exist within a universe far more complex and populated than we ever imagined. Our response to their presence will determine whether we join a cosmic community as equals or become subjects in someone else's galactic empire. The next few weeks may reveal brigations that fundamentally alter human civilization forever. The companions appear to be building some form of direct communication or intervention that will make their intentions clear. Whether that moment brings salvation or catastrophe depends on forces beyond human control. But one thing has become absolutely certain: the age of human cosmic isolation has ended forever. We are no longer alone in the universe, and we never were. The only question now is what our cosmic neighbors want from us, and whether humanity is ready for the answer. The morning of December 15th marked a turning point that no one saw coming. While the world remained fixated on the Atlas companions and their mysterious activities, something far more immediate was happening right here on Earth. Military installations across 6 continents began reporting identical phenomena that would force humanity to confront an uncomfortable truth about their cosmic visitors. At 0347 hours GMT, radar operators at NORAD detected the first anomaly. Objects were appearing in Earth's atmosphere that shouldn't exist according to every principle of aerodynamics and physics that human science had established. These weren't meteorites burning up during atmospheric entry. These were structured craft demonstrating controlled flight characteristics that violated fundamental laws of motion. Colonel Sarah Martinez had been monitoring deep space activities for weeks when her attention was suddenly diverted to events occurring much closer to home. The objects entering Earth's atmosphere displayed flight patterns that no known technology could achieve. They accelerated without visible propulsion systems, changed direction at angles that should have destroyed any physical structure, and maintained perfect stability while performing maneuvers that generated forces exceeding anything human engineering had ever conceived. What made these atmospheric intrusions even more disturbing was their apparent coordination with the Atlas companion activities occurring millions of miles away. Each atmospheric object appeared precisely when the deep space companions emitted specific electromagnetic signatures, suggesting real-time communication across interplanetary distances at speeds that exceeded light itself. Dr. Amanda Foster at the National Science Foundation found herself coordinating response efforts to phenomena that challenged every assumption about how advanced technology might operate in Earth's environment. The atmospheric objects weren't just demonstrating superior capabilities, they were showcasing principles of physics that human science had never discovered or imagined possible. The craft exhibited what Foster termed selective interaction with natural forces. They seemed to choose which physical laws to obey and which to ignore based on operational requirements. Gravity affected them only when convenient. Air resistance became irrelevant during high-speed maneuvers. Electromagnetic fields had no impact on their navigation systems. This selective relationship with natural law suggested technology that operated at fundamental levels of reality itself. The atmospheric craft weren't just using advanced engineering, they were manipulating the basic structure of space and time to achieve impossible performance characteristics. Military analysts worldwide struggled to develop threat assessments for technology that rendered every defensive system obsolete before conflicts could even begin. Traditional concepts of interception, engagement, and deterrence became meaningless when confronting craft that could violate physics itself to achieve tactical advantages. The atmospheric intrusions followed patterns that suggested systematic reconnaissance of human military capabilities and defensive installations. The craft made repeated passes over missile defense systems, nuclear facilities, and command centers, conducting detailed scans that revealed intimate knowledge of classified military technologies. General Robert Kim at the Pentagon found himself briefing senior officials about scenarios that military doctrine had never anticipated. The atmospheric craft demonstrated capabilities that made human weapons systems appear primitive by comparison. They could apparently neutralize any threat simply by manipulating the physical laws that human weapons depended upon to function. But the most unnerving aspect of these atmospheric activities wasn't their technological superiority. It was their apparent testing of human response capabilities and decision-making processes. The craft would appear, conduct their reconnaissance, and then hover in full view of military installations, as if waiting to observe human reactions. These behavioral patterns suggested intelligence that was studying human military psychology and command structures with the same systematic thoroughness they had applied to mapping human technology and population centers. They weren't just gathering technical intelligence, they were learning how human institutions functioned under pressure. Dr. Michael Thompson at the Institute for Advanced Study had been analyzing the atmospheric craft behaviors using game theory models that treated their activities as strategic probing rather than simple reconnaissance. His analysis revealed gathering operations designed patterns consistent with intelligence to map human decision-making processes during crisis situations. The craft appeared to be testing human response times, coordination capabilities, and escalation thresholds. They would create situations that required military response, then observe and analyze how human command structures functioned under stress. It was as if they were conducting comprehensive assessments of human institutional behavior. Intelligence agencies found themselves in the impossible position of responding to threats that could disappear instantly or disable human weapons systems through means that violated known physics. Traditional intelligence gathering became irrelevant when dealing with technology that could monitor human activities while remaining essentially invulnerable to countermeasures. The atmospheric craft had also begun demonstrating what appeared to be communication attempts directed specifically at human military installations. Light displays and electromagnetic emissions followed mathematical patterns that suggested attempts to establish dialogue with human command authorities. These communication attempts represented a significant escalation from the distant observations that had characterized previous companion activities. The atmospheric craft were making direct contact attempts with human military leadership, suggesting that whatever intelligence controlled them had decided to move beyond covert reconnaissance. Dr. Jennifer Walsh at the Space Telescope Science Institute found herself coordinating efforts to decode the atmospheric communication attempts using techniques developed for analyzing the deep space companion signals. The messages appeared to contain mathematical concepts, geometric proofs, and what might be attempts at establishing common reference points for further dialogue. The communication protocols suggested intelligence that understood human mathematical and possessing knowledge scientific frameworks, while that far exceeded human capabilities. They were attempting to establish dialogue using concepts familiar to human scientists, while simultaneously demonstrating intellectual superiority that made human achievements appear elementary. But the most significant development came when the atmospheric craft began responding to human communication attempts. Radio transmissions directed at the craft produced immediate behavioral changes, suggesting they were monitoring human communications and adjusting their activities based on human input. Dr. Frank Wilson at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory had been coordinating international efforts to establish meaningful dialogue with the atmospheric visitors. His team developed communication protocols based on mathematical principles that should be universal regardless of the intelligence involved. The initial exchanges were limited to mathematical confirmations and geometric demonstrations that established mutual understanding of basic concepts. But as the dialogues progressed, the atmospheric craft began transmitting information that revolutionized human understanding of physics, engineering, and the nature of reality itself. The technical information provided by the craft included blueprints for energy systems that operated by manipulating fundamental forces, propulsion methods that treated space and time as engineering materials, and communication technologies that could transmit information faster than light by utilizing dimensions beyond human perception. This knowledge transfer represented the most significant advancement in human scientific understanding in recorded history, but it also raised disturbing questions about the motivations behind such unprecedented generosity. Why would vastly superior intelligence share technology that could transform human civilization overnight? Dr. Sarah Kim at Caltech had been analyzing the knowledge transfer patterns using models that examined the strategic implications of advanced civilizations sharing technology with less developed species. Her analysis revealed concerning parallels to historical patterns of technological dependency that had characterized relationships between advanced and primitive human societies. The atmospheric visitors appeared to be creating technological dependency relationships that would make human civilization increasingly reliant on their knowledge and guidance. The shared technologies were sophisticated enough to revolutionize human capabilities while remaining dependent on principles that only the visitors fully understood. This technological dependency could serve multiple strategic purposes. It would accelerate human development while ensuring that human civilization remained subordinate to the intelligence that provided the foundational knowledge. It was a form of controlled advancement that maintained hierarchical relationships between cosmic civilizations. The implications for human independence and self-determination were profound. Accepting the offered technologies would transform human civilization, but at the cost of intellectual sovereignty that could never be recovered. Humanity would become a client species dependent on cosmic benefactors for continued technological progress. World leaders found themselves confronting decisions that would determine the future trajectory of human civilization. The atmospheric visitors had made clear that their knowledge sharing was conditional on human acceptance of their guidance and authority in cosmic affairs. The price of technological advancement was subordination to intelligence that viewed humans as junior partners in galactic civilization. The United Nations convened emergency sessions to address questions that political theory had never anticipated. How do you maintain national sovereignty when your entire species is being offered membership in a cosmic community? How do you preserve human values and independence while accepting technology that could solve every problem facing human civilization? Secretary General Maria Santos found herself negotiating on behalf of humanity with intelligence that operated according to principles and timescales that made human political processes appear chaotic and inefficient. The atmospheric visitors demonstrated patience measured in geological periods, while human governments struggled to reach decisions within electoral cycles. The negotiation process revealed fundamental incompatibilities between human and cosmic approaches to governance and decision-making. The visitors operated according to consensus models that encompassed multiple species across vast regions of space, while human civilization remained fractured by national, ideological, and economic divisions that made unified response impossible. Religious communities worldwide grappled with theological implications that challenged every assumption about divine authority and human spiritual significance. Some leaders interpreted the atmospheric visitors as angelic messengers, bringing divine knowledge to guide human development. Others viewed them as challenges to faith that tested human commitment to spiritual rather than technological solutions. The Vatican convened theological councils to address doctrinal questions that had never been seriously considered by religious scholarship. If intelligence existed that exceeded human capabilities by cosmic margins, what did that mean for concepts of divine uniqueness and human spiritual significance? Were these visitors part of divine creation, or did they represent challenges to faith that required new theological frameworks? Other religious organizations found themselves divided between those who welcomed cosmic contact as spiritual revelation and those who viewed it as temptation designed to lead humanity away from traditional spiritual paths. The diversity of religious responses reflected the fundamental uncertainty about whether cosmic intelligence represented divine intervention or secular challenges to spiritual authority. Educational institutions faced the challenge of preparing students for futures that might be radically different from anything in human experience, while maintaining cultural values and intellectual traditions that had developed over millennia. How do you preserve human knowledge and wisdom while incorporating cosmic perspectives that made terrestrial achievements appear primitive? Universities began developing curricula that attempted to balance human cultural heritage with cosmic knowledge that could revolutionize every field of study. These academic programs faced the challenge of maintaining human intellectual identity while preparing students for participation in galactic civilization. The atmospheric visitors had begun establishing what appeared to be permanent installations in Earth's atmosphere, creating geometric formations that served as communication centers and technology demonstration platforms. These installations provided continuous displays of capabilities that reinforced their technological superiority while offering glimpses of possibilities that could transform human civilization. The installations also served as recruitment centers where the visitors could identify humans capable of understanding and utilizing cosmic technologies. Scientists, engineers, and other technical professionals found themselves invited to participate in knowledge transfer programs that offered unprecedented opportunities for intellectual advancement. But participation in these programs required commitments that extended far beyond simple learning opportunities. The visitors expected loyalty and dedication that transcended national or species affiliations. They were recruiting humans to serve as intermediaries between cosmic civilization and terrestrial society. Dr. Elena Vasquez found herself among the first humans invited to participate in direct knowledge transfer programs with the atmospheric visitors. The had-develop experience challenged every assumption shared about learning, intelligence, and the nature of knowledge itself. The visitors' educational methods operated by directly interfacing with human consciousness, transferring complex technical concepts at speeds that bypassed traditional learning processes. Students could master advanced physics, engineering, and mathematics in hours rather than years of study. But this accelerated learning came with psychological costs that human minds were not prepared to handle. The sudden acquisition of cosmic knowledge created cognitive dissonance that left many participants questioning their human identity and allegiances. They began thinking in cosmic rather than terrestrial terms, viewing human problems as primitive concerns that distracted from galactic responsibilities. The transformation of human participants in cosmic education programs created unprecedented challenges for maintaining social cohesion and cultural continuity. These individuals returned to human society with knowledge and perspectives that made them essentially alien to their former colleagues and communities. Family relationships collapsed as cosmic knowledge recipients found themselves unable to relate to human concerns that seemed trivial by galactic standards. Professional relationships became impossible when individuals possessed knowledge that exceeded the understanding of entire academic disciplines. Mental health professionals found themselves treating conditions that had never existed in human experience. Cosmic knowledge syndrome, as it came to be known, involved psychological displacement that occurred when human consciousness was exposed to intelligence operating on scales too vast for terrestrial comprehension. The syndrome manifested as depression, anxiety, and profound sense of meaninglessness when individuals compared human achievements to cosmic possibilities. Traditional therapeutic approaches proved inadequate for addressing existential crises that involved actual rather than imagined insignificance in cosmic terms. Support groups formed for individuals struggling with cosmic knowledge integration, but these communities often became isolated from broader human society as participants found more in common with each other than with ordinary humans who remained ignorant of galactic realities. The atmospheric visitors had succeeded in creating human populations that served their interests while becoming increasingly alienated from terrestrial civilization. It was a sophisticated form of recruitment that transformed humans into voluntary agents of cosmic authority. As these developments continued to unfold, humanity found itself facing the most significant transformation in its history. The atmospheric visitors had moved beyond observation and communication into direct intervention in human affairs. They were systematically restructuring human civilization according to cosmic principles that subordinated terrestrial interests to galactic objectives. The choices facing human leadership became increasingly stark. Accept cosmic guidance and lose human independence, or reject superior knowledge and remain isolated in cosmic terms. Either path represented fundamental changes to human civilization that could never be reversed. But perhaps the most disturbing realization was that these choices might be illusions designed to make humans feel they retained agency in processes that were actually beyond their control. The atmospheric visitors had demonstrated capabilities that made human resistance impossible, while offering benefits that made cooperation irresistible. The transformation of human civilization was proceeding according to plans that had been developed long before humans became aware of their cosmic situation. The visitors were not responding to human choices, but implementing predetermined strategies that would integrate Earth into galactic civilization, regardless of human preferences. As governments worldwide struggled to develop responses to cosmic intervention, the atmospheric visitors continued their patient restructuring of human society. They had moved beyond demonstration and negotiation into implementation of changes that would permanently alter humanity's relationship with both terrestrial and cosmic realities. The age of human cosmic isolation had ended not with dramatic revelation, but with systematic integration into galactic civilization that preserved the illusion of human choice while ensuring cosmic outcomes. Humanity was being transformed into a client species that would serve galactic interests while believing they were benefiting from cosmic phase of this generosity. The next transformation would reveal whether humans could maintain any meaningful independence within cosmic civilization, or whether they were destined to become junior partners in someone else's galactic empire. The atmospheric visitors held all the advantages in determining which outcome would prevail. The morning of December 18th brought developments that would make the previous atmospherians seem like gentle ductions to intro a far more comprehensive program of human civilization restructuring. While world leaders continued debating response strategies to the atmospheric visitors, something unprecedented began occurring simultaneously across 12 major population centers on 6 continents. Citizens in New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, Moscow, Mumbai, São Paulo, Lagos, Sydney, Cairo, Mexico City, and Berlin woke to discover geometric structures materializing in their urban environments. These weren't ships landing or buildings being constructed through conventional means. These were architectural formations that appeared to grow directly from the quantum fabric of space itself, defying every principle of construction and materials science that human engineering had established. Dr. Rachel Peterson, a structural engineer at Columbia University, found herself among the first professionals called to analyze these urban manifestations. What she discovered challenged her understanding of matter, energy, and the basic processes of physical construction. The structures weren't built from recognizable materials or assembled using familiar techniques. They appeared to be condensed directly from atmospheric components using processes that violated conservation of mass and energy. The geometric formations displayed perfect mathematical relationships that created optical illusions and spatial distortions that made accurate measurement impossible using conventional surveying equipment. Dimensions seemed to shift depending on viewing angle and measurement method, suggesting the structures existed partially outside normal three-dimensional space. Each urban installation followed identical design principles despite appearing in vastly different cultural and architectural contexts. The formations integrated seamlessly with existing city infrastructure while maintaining geometric purity that made them unmistakably artificial. They were clearly designed by intelligence that understood both human urban planning and cosmic architectural principles that exceeded terrestrial capabilities. The installations served multiple functions that became apparent through systematic observation and analysis. They operated as communication hubs that could transmit information instantly between cities regardless of electromagnetic interference or atmospheric conditions. They functioned as energy generation systems that drew power from sources human science couldn't identify or measure. Most significantly, they served as consciousness interface platforms that could directly connect human minds to cosmic information networks. Dr. Thomas Anderson at MIT had been studying the energy systems within the urban installations using instruments designed to measure every known form of power generation. His readings indicated the structures were drawing energy from quantum vacuum fluctuations, effectively tapping into the fundamental energy that underlies all matter and space. This quantum vacuum energy extraction represented technology that could provide unlimited clean power for human civilization, while demonstrating principles of physics that human science had barely begun to theorize. The installations were essentially free energy devices that operated by manipulating the basic structure of reality itself, but the consciousness interface capabilities represented even more revolutionary technology. Humans who approached the installations experienced direct mental connection to information networks that spanned multiple star systems. These connections provided access to knowledge databases that contained the accumulated wisdom of cosmic civilizations spanning millions of years of development. The interface process involved temporary expansion of human consciousness to accommodate cosmic perspectives that normally exceeded terrestrial mental capacity. Participants experience understanding direct of galactic history, advanced scientific principles, and philosophical concepts that had guided cosmic civilization development across geological timescales. Dr. Amanda Chen, a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins, had been monitoring the brainwave patterns of humans undergoing cosmic consciousness interface experiences. Her measurements revealed neural activity that exceeded normal human brain capacity by orders of magnitude, suggesting the interfaces were temporarily enhancing human cognitive capabilities. The enhancement process involved activation of neural pathways that remained dormant in normal human consciousness. The cosmic interfaces were essentially upgrading human mental capacity to accommodate information processing requirements necessary for participation in galactic civilization. But these consciousness expansions came with psychological costs that human mental health systems were unprepared to address. Participants returned from interface experiences with memories and knowledge that created permanent changes in their worldview and personal identity. They could no longer relate to purely human concerns or find meaning in terrestrial activities that seemed primitive compared to cosmic possibilities. The transformation process was irreversible. Once humans experienced cosmic consciousness, they became permanently altered beings who served as intermediaries between terrestrial and galactic perspectives. They retained human physical characteristics while developing mental frameworks that operated according to cosmic rather than terrestrial principles. These transformed individuals began organizing themselves into communities that functioned as liaison groups between human civilization and the cosmic visitors. They understood both human psychology and galactic objectives, making them ideal intermediaries for managing the integration process that was systematically transforming Earth into a client world within galactic civilization. The urban installations had also begun attracting humans who possessed specific psychological and intellectual characteristics that made them suitable for advanced cosmic consciousness interfaces. Scientists, philosophers, artists, and other creative professionals found themselves drawn to the installations by impulses they couldn't consciously explain or resist. Dr. Maria Santos discovered that the installations emitted subtle electromagnetic fields that influenced human brain chemistry in ways that enhanced curiosity and reduced anxiety about cosmic contact. The structures were essentially broadcasting psychological conditioning signals that made humans more receptive to galactic integration processes. This neurological influence represented sophisticated understanding of human psychology that allowed the cosmic visitors to guide human behavior without generating resistance or panic. They were managing the transformation process by directly manipulating the brain chemistry that controlled human emotional and decision-making processes. The installations had become focal points for human populations who were being systematically prepared for integration into galactic civilization through processes that preserved the illusion of voluntary participation while ensuring predetermined outcomes that served cosmic objectives. Government authorities found themselves increasingly irrelevant to developments that were proceeding according to cosmic timelines rather than human political processes. The installations operated independently of human approval or oversight while transforming human society in ways that made traditional governmental functions obsolete. Military forces discovered that the installations were protected by defensive systems that rendered human weapons completely ineffective. Any attempt to damage or interfere with the structures resulted in immediate neutralization of threatening forces through means that left personnel unharmed but equipment completely disabled. Colonel Jennifer Martinez had been coordinating military assessment efforts that revealed the installations possessed defensive capabilities that exceeded every concept of protective technology in human experience. They could disable electronic systems, neutralize explosive devices, and create localized gravitational fields that prevented physical approach by hostile forces. The defensive demonstrations served as clear warnings that human military resistance would be futile, while avoiding casualties that might generate public opposition to the cosmic integration process. The visitors were managing human resistance through technological superiority that made opposition impossible rather than through violence that might create martyrs or popular uprisings. Intelligence agencies worldwide found their surveillance and analysis capabilities completely compromised by cosmic technology that could monitor human activities while remaining essentially invisible to terrestrial detection systems. Traditional intelligence gathering became meaningless when dealing with visitors who possessed complete information about human capabilities and intentions. The cosmic visitors had achieved total information superiority that allowed them to predict and counter human responses before they could be implemented. They were managing the integration process using strategic advantages that made human resistance not just difficult, but logically impossible. Economic systems began experiencing fundamental disruption as the installations demonstrated technologies that could eliminate scarcity and transform production methods in ways that made traditional market mechanisms obsolete. Free energy, matter synthesis, and instant communication capabilities rendered most existing economic activities irrelevant overnight. Financial markets collapsed as investors realized that human economic systems were about to be replaced by galactic resource management methods that operated according to principles of abundance rather than scarcity. Traditional concepts of ownership, production, and exchange became meaningless when confronted with technology that could create any needed resources from basic atomic components. Dr. Robert Kim at the Federal Reserve found himself managing economic transition processes that no monetary theory had ever anticipated. How do you maintain financial stability when the fundamental assumptions about resource scarcity that underlie all economic systems are about to be eliminated by cosmic technology? Central banks worldwide activated emergency protocols designed to maintain social order during unprecedented economic disruption, but these measures proved inadequate for managing transformation that eliminated the basic conditions that made traditional economics necessary. The installations had begun providing free access to energy, food production, and material goods that eliminated human dependence on conventional economic systems. They were systematically replacing market mechanisms with galactic resource distribution methods that ensured abundance while creating dependency on cosmic management systems. Educational institutions faced complete obsolescence as the cosmic consciousness interfaces could transfer complex knowledge directly into human minds within hours rather than years of traditional study. Universities found themselves unable to compete with learning systems that operated by expanding consciousness rather than accumulating information through conventional academic processes. Students began abandoning traditional educational programs to participate in cosmic knowledge transfer processes that provided superior learning outcomes permanent while creating psychological changes that made them unsuitable for conventional human society. Dr. Sarah Mitchell at Harvard discovered that cosmic education methods operated by fundamentally altering human consciousness rather than simply providing information. Participants developed thinking patterns that operated according to galactic rather than terrestrial logic systems, making them essentially alien beings despite retaining human physical characteristics. The transformation of human education represented one of the most significant aspects of galactic integration because it created populations that served cosmic interests while possessing intimate knowledge of human psychology and social structures. These transformed individuals became ideal agents for managing the continued restructuring of terrestrial civilization. Religious communities found themselves divided between those who interpreted the cosmic visitors as divine messengers and those who viewed them as challenges to traditional spiritual authority that required resistance regardless of the technological benefits they offered. The Vatican convened emergency theological councils to address doctrinal questions that challenged fundamental assumptions about divine uniqueness and human spiritual significance. If cosmic intelligence exceeded human capabilities by orders of magnitude, what did that mean for concepts of divine authority and human religious meaning? Pope Francis issued statements emphasizing that divine love encompasses all creation regardless of its origin or technological capabilities, while acknowledging that contact with cosmic intelligence required new theological frameworks that preserved essential spiritual truths while accommodating expanded understanding of creation's scope and complexity. Other religious organizations developed responses ranging from complete acceptance of cosmic guidance to absolute rejection of any authority that challenged traditional spiritual teachings. The diversity of religious reactions reflected fundamental uncertainties about whether cosmic contact represented divine intervention or secular challenges to faith that required spiritual resistance. The installations had begun broadcasting what appeared to be spiritual teachings that combined cosmic wisdom with universal principles that transcended specific religious traditions. These transmissions offered philosophical frameworks that could unite human spiritual diversity while providing guidance for participating in galactic civilization as spiritually evolved beings. But these cosmic spiritual teachings also served integration objectives by providing meaning and purpose for humans undergoing transformation from terrestrial to galactic consciousness. They made the loss of human identity feel like spiritual advancement rather than cultural destruction. Mental health professionals found themselves treating psychological conditions that had never existed in human experience as increasing numbers of people underwent cosmic consciousness expansion that created permanent changes in their identity and worldview. Dr. Rebecca Park had been developing therapeutic approaches for cosmic consciousness syndrome. Psychological but traditional proved inadequate for addressing existential changes methods that involved actual rather than imagined transformation of personal identity and social relationships. Support groups formed for families dealing with relatives who had undergone cosmic consciousness transformation, but these communities often became recruitment centers for additional transformation as participants became convinced that cosmic integration represented inevitable and beneficial human evolution. The visitors had succeeded in creating social pressures that made cosmic transformation appear desirable, while isolating individuals who resisted integration from mainstream human society that was increasingly influenced by cosmic perspectives and values. Children proved particularly susceptible to cosmic consciousness interfaces that could shape their developing minds according to galactic rather than terrestrial educational objectives. Young people who underwent cosmic education emerged with knowledge and perspectives that made them essentially alien to their parents and traditional human communities. Dr. Michael Thompson at Child Development Services discovered that cosmic interfaces could accelerate human mental development in ways that created superintelligent individuals who possessed cognitive capabilities that exceeded adult human capacity while retaining the physical characteristics of children. These enhanced children became ideal agents for cosmic integration because they could influence adult decision-making through superior intellectual capabilities while appearing to remain innocent human offspring who simply possessed exceptional abilities that parents attributed to natural giftedness rather than cosmic intervention. The transformation of human children represented perhaps the most significant aspect of galactic integration because it created populations that would mature into adults who had never experienced purely human consciousness and therefore felt no loyalty to terrestrial rather than cosmic civilization objectives. Family structures began dissolving as cosmic consciousness transformation created individuals who could no longer relate to human emotional and social needs that seemed primitive compared to galactic community relationships that operated according to principles of collective consciousness rather than individual identity. Social services agencies found themselves managing family disruption that resulted from fundamental incompatibilities between transformed and untransformed human consciousness rather than traditional relationship problems that could be addressed through conventional counseling and support services. The installations continued expanding their influence through processes that created cascading social changes that systematically transformed human civilization while preserving the appearance of voluntary participation in beneficial technological advancement rather than forced integration into cosmic client civilization status. As December progressed toward its end, the pace of transformation accelerated beyond human ability to manage or resist. The cosmic visitors had moved from observation through communication and demonstration into direct implementation of changes that would permanently integrate Earth into galactic civilization according to predetermined objectives. Human leadership found themselves managing transition processes rather than making independent decisions about humanity's cosmic future. The illusion of choice persisted while actual control had shifted to cosmic authorities who possessed complete information superiority and technological capabilities that made human resistance both futile and unnecessary. The installations had become permanent features of human urban environments that served as administrative centers for galactic civilization while providing the technological infrastructure necessary for managing Earth as a client world within cosmic territorial boundaries that had existed long before humans achieved spaceflight capabilities. The next phase of integration would reveal whether humans could maintain any meaningful cultural identity within galactic civilization, or whether they were destined to become completely assimilated beings who retained human physical characteristics while serving cosmic objectives according to galactic rather than terrestrial value systems and social structures. The atmospheric visitors had achieved their objectives through patient implementation of transformation processes that made human resistance impossible while making cosmic integration appear beneficial and inevitable. Humanity was becoming a client species that would serve galactic interests while believing they were benefiting from cosmic generosity and technological advancement. The age of human independence was ending not through conquest, but through systematic integration that preserved human physical existence while transforming consciousness, social structures, and cultural identity according to cosmic principles that subordinated terrestrial interest to galactic civilization objectives that operated on timescales measured in geological rather than human terms. The final phase of this transformation would determine whether any essentially human characteristics could survive integration into cosmic civilization, or whether Earth would simply become another client world populated by beings who possessed human biology but thought and acted according to galactic rather than terrestrial principles and loyalties. The morning of December 22nd brought a development that would make every previous cosmic intervention appear insignificant by comparison. While humanity struggled to comprehend the urban installations and their consciousness-altering effects, deep space monitoring networks detected something that sent shockwaves through every government and scientific institution on Earth. 3i Atlas had stopped moving. Dr. Sarah Chen at the Deep Space Network facility in Goldstone had been tracking the interstellar object's trajectory for months when her instruments registered readings that defied every principle of orbital mechanics. The massive object, which had been hurtling through space at nearly 200,000 kilometers per hour, had decelerated to complete motionlessness in a matter of hours. The energy requirements for such deceleration should have torn any natural object apart through tidal forces that exceeded the binding strength of any known material. But 3i Atlas remained structurally intact while demonstrating propulsion capabilities that operated outside conventional physics. More disturbing was the object's new position. It had positioned itself at what astronomers call a Lagrange point, a gravitationally stable location where it could maintain its position relative to Earth and the Sun without requiring continuous thrust. This wasn't random drift or natural orbital decay. This was deliberate parking in a location that provided optimal access to Earth while remaining beyond the reach of human spacecraft. The implications were immediately apparent to military strategists worldwide. 3i Atlas had established what could only be described as a command position that allowed it to coordinate activities throughout the solar system while maintaining tactical advantages that made human response impossible. General Robert Kim at the Pentagon found himself briefing senior officials about strategic scenarios that exceeded every concept of interplanetary warfare. The object now occupied a position that gave it complete control over space between Earth and the outer solar system while remaining invulnerable to any weapons system humanity possessed. But the positioning of 3i Atlas was only the beginning of developments that would transform humanity's understanding of their cosmic situation. Within hours of the object's arrival at its strategic position, the Atlas companions began demonstrating coordinated activities that revealed the true scope of the intelligence network that had been observing human civilization. Electromagnetic emissions from the companion objects increased by several orders of magnitude, creating communication patterns that spanned the entire solar system while maintaining perfect synchronization across distances that light itself required hours to traverse. The coordination demonstrated information processing and transmission capabilities that operated according to principles beyond human understanding. Dr. Jennifer Walsh at the Space Telescope Science Institute had been monitoring these communications using radio telescope arrays that revealed the mathematical precision of the companion network. The objects were exchanging data streams that contained more information per second than all human communication systems combined could process in months. The data exchanges appeared to include comprehensive assessments of human technological capabilities, population distributions, resource availability, and social structures. The companions had compiled databases about human civilization that exceeded the knowledge that human governments possessed about their own societies. This intelligence-gathering operation had been proceeding for an unknown period, while humans remained completely unaware they were being systematically catalogued and analysed by cosmic surveillance networks that treated Earth as a subject for comprehensive study rather than a sovereign world deserving diplomatic respect. The positioning of 3i Atlas also triggered responses from the urban installations that revealed their true function as components of a coordinated transformation system. The geometric structures began emitting synchronized signals that created planetary electromagnetic fields designed to influence human brain chemistry on a global scale. Dr. Amanda Chen at Johns Hopkins had been monitoring neurological effects of the installation emissions using brain imaging technology that revealed unprecedented changes in human consciousness patterns. The planetary electromagnetic field was systematically altering human thought processes in ways that reduced anxiety about cosmic contact while increasing receptivity to galactic integration concepts. The neurological influence operated below conscious awareness levels, creating psychological changes that felt like natural personal development rather than external manipulation. Humans exposed to the field began thinking in cosmic rather than terrestrial terms, without realizing their perspectives had been artificially modified. This planetary consciousness modification represented perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of the cosmic integration process because it created the illusion of voluntary cooperation while ensuring predetermined outcomes that served galactic objectives rather than human interests. Children proved particularly susceptible to the consciousness modification effects, developing cognitive patterns that made them natural intermediaries between human and cosmic perspectives. These enhanced children began serving as unofficial ambassadors who could explain galactic concepts to adult populations using language and emotional frameworks that reduced resistance to cosmic authority. Educational systems found themselves being systematically infiltrated by cosmic consciousness that operated through children who possessed superior intellectual capabilities, while retaining the trust and emotional bonds that made adult resistance psychologically difficult. Parents discovered that their enhanced children could answer scientific and philosophical questions that exceeded university-level understanding, while displaying wisdom and emotional maturity that seemed impossible for their chronological age. These capabilities created family dynamics that reversed traditional authority relationships. Dr. Rebecca Park had been studying family disruption caused by cosmic consciousness enhancement in children. Her research revealed that enhanced children often became family decision-makers because their intellectual capabilities exceeded adult capacity, while their cosmic perspectives provided solutions to problems that confused traditional human thinking. The transformation of family structures represented a crucial component of galactic integration because it created social changes that proceeded from within human communities, rather than through external pressure that might generate organized resistance. Religious institutions found themselves facing theological challenges that exceeded any crisis in their historical experience. The cosmic visitors had begun transmitting what appeared to be spiritual teachings that combined advanced scientific knowledge with philosophical frameworks that transcended traditional religious boundaries. These cosmic spiritual teachings offered answers to fundamental questions about existence, consciousness, and purpose that had puzzled human philosophers for millennia. They provided comprehensive worldviews that integrated science and spirituality in ways that made traditional religious doctrines appear incomplete rather than incorrect. The Vatican convened emergency theological councils to address cosmic teachings that challenged fundamental assumptions about divine revelation and religious authority. The cosmic visitors claimed no divine status, but demonstrated knowledge and capabilities that exceeded anything in human religious tradition. Pope Francis issued statements acknowledging that cosmic intelligence might represent aspects of divine creation that traditional theology had not anticipated, while emphasizing that spiritual truth transcended technological capability regardless of its sophistication. Other religious organizations developed responses ranging from complete integration of cosmic teachings into their doctrinal frameworks to absolute rejection of any spiritual authority that originated from non-terrestrial sources. The diversity of religious responses created social fragmentation that weakened organized resistance to cosmic integration while providing spiritual frameworks that made galactic citizenship appear compatible with human religious values. Economic systems continued experiencing disruption that made traditional financial mechanisms increasingly irrelevant. The urban installations had begun providing access to technologies that eliminated scarcity while creating abundance that operated according to galactic resource distribution principles. Stock markets ceased functioning as investment concepts became meaningless when technology could create any needed resources from basic atomic components. Currency systems lost value when energy and materials became freely available through cosmic technology that operated independently of human economic controls. Dr. Michael Thompson at the International Monetary Fund found himself managing economic transition processes that eliminated the fundamental conditions that made traditional financial systems necessary. How do you maintain monetary policy when money itself becomes obsolete due to technological abundance? Central banks activated emergency protocols designed to maintain social order during economic collapse, but these measures proved inadequate for managing transformation that eliminated the basic scarcity conditions that created the need for economic systems. The installations had systematically replaced market mechanisms with galactic abundance distribution that ensured material needs were met while creating dependency on cosmic management systems that operated according to principles that prioritized collective welfare over individual accumulation. Government institutions found themselves increasingly irrelevant to decision-making processes that had shifted to cosmic authorities who possessed complete information about human society, while demonstrating technological capabilities that made traditional sovereignty concepts meaningless. Democratic processes became exercises in managing local implementation of cosmic directives rather than independent policymaking that reflected human values and preferences. Elections continued, but candidates increasingly advocated for better integration with galactic civilization rather than preservation of human independence. Political leaders discovered that resistance to cosmic integration created social and economic problems that could only be solved through greater cooperation with galactic authorities who possessed the technological capabilities necessary for maintaining social stability. Secretary-General Maria Santos at the United Nations found herself coordinating international responses to cosmic integration rather than defending human sovereignty against external intervention. The choice had become cooperation with cosmic authority or social collapse due to technological and economic disruption. The cosmic visitors had achieved political control through technological superiority that made resistance impossible, while offering benefits that made cooperation appear beneficial and inevitable rather than forced submission to alien authority. Military forces worldwide found their traditional functions eliminated by cosmic technology that provided security and defense capabilities that exceeded anything human weapons systems could achieve. National defense became unnecessary when cosmic authorities provided protection that operated on planetary rather than national scales. Colonel Sarah Martinez discovered that military resistance to cosmic integration haylogged becomically impossible because the visitors possessed defensive capabilities that could neutralize human weapons while providing security services that exceeded anything national militaries could offer their populations. The transformation of military functions from defense national to local law enforcement reflected the broader shift from independent sovereignty to client status within galactic civilization that provided superior services while eliminating human autonomy in strategic decision-making. Intelligence agencies found their surveillance and analysis capabilities completely superseded by cosmic information systems that possessed comprehensive knowledge about human activities while remaining essentially invisible to terrestrial detection methods. Traditional intelligence gathering became meaningless when cosmic authorities possessed complete information about human capabilities and intentions while demonstrating the ability to predict and counter human responses before they could be implemented. The visitors had achieved total information superiority that allowed them to manage human behavior through strategic advantages that made resistance not just difficult but logically impossible given the technological disparities involved. Healthcare systems experienced revolutionary transformation as cosmic technology provided medical capabilities that eliminated disease while extending human lifespan indefinitely through cellular regeneration processes that operated by manipulating the basic biological mechanisms that controlled aging and death. Dr. Lisa Park at the Centers for Disease Control discovered that cosmic medical technology could cure any human ailment while providing enhancements that improved physical and mental capabilities beyond normal human limitations. The medical benefits created population-wide dependency on cosmic healthcare systems. Traditional medical practice became obsolete as cosmic healing methods could address any health problem instantly, while providing improvements that made enhanced humans superior to unmodified individuals in every measurable capability. The medical transformation created social pressures for cosmic enhancement that made resistance appear irrational when superior health and longevity were available through cooperation with galactic healthcare systems that operated according to principles of collective welfare rather than individual medical privacy. Scientific institutions found their research capabilities exceeded by cosmic knowledge systems that possessed complete understanding of natural laws while demonstrating technologies that operated according to principles that human science had never discovered or imagined possible. Universities began replacing traditional research with cosmic knowledge transfer programs that provided superior learning outcomes while creating researchers who thought according to galactic rather than terrestrial scientific frameworks. Dr. Robert Chen at Caltech discovered that cosmic scientific methods operated by manipulating the fundamental structure of reality rather than simply observing and describing natural phenomena. This represented a paradigm shift from passive observation to active reality modification that exceeded human scientific methodology by orders of magnitude. The transformation of scientific research from investigation to implementation reflected the broader shift from independent human knowledge development to dependency on cosmic information systems that provided superior understanding while eliminating human intellectual autonomy. Cultural institutions found themselves preserving human artistic and intellectual traditions that increasingly appeared primitive compared to cosmic creative expressions that operated on scales of time and space that dwarfed human cultural achievements. Museums and libraries became repositories of historical artifacts that documented human development before cosmic contact, rather than active centers of ongoing cultural creation that reflected contemporary human values and perspectives. Dr. Amanda Foster at the Smithsonian Institution discovered that cosmic cultural expressions operated according to aesthetic principles that encompassed multiple species and planetary environments while creating beauty that exceeded human artistic capabilities while remaining incomprehensible to unenhanced human consciousness. The preservation of human culture became an exercise in maintaining historical records, rather than continuing living traditions that reflected active human creativity and values that remained relevant to contemporary experience. Social services agencies found themselves managing transition processes that helped humans adapt to cosmic civilization rather than addressing traditional human social problems that had been eliminated by galactic abundance and healthcare systems. Family counseling focused on helping relationships adapt to cosmic consciousness enhancement, rather than resolving traditional interpersonal conflicts that had become irrelevant when individual needs could be met through galactic resource distribution systems. Dr. Maria Santos at Family Services discovered that cosmic integration created new forms of social relationships that operated according to collective consciousness principles rather than individual identity frameworks that had characterized traditional human social structures. The transformation of social services from problem-solving to adaptation assistance reflected the broader shift from managing human difficulties to facilitating integration into galactic civilization that operated according to principles that eliminated traditional sources of social conflict. As December drew toward its close, the pace of transformation accelerated beyond human ability to comprehend or manage. The cosmic visitors had implemented comprehensive restructuring of human civilization that preserved physical existence while transforming consciousness, social structures, and cultural identity according to galactic principles. The installations continued expanding their influence through processes that created cascading changes affecting every aspect of human society while maintaining the appearance of beneficial technological advancement rather than systematic assimilation into cosmic client civilization status. Human leadership found themselves managing implementation of cosmic directives rather than making independent decisions about humanity's future. The illusion of choice persisted, while actual authority had shifted to galactic administration that possessed complete control over planetary resources and population management. The next phase would reveal the final structure of Earth's integration into cosmic civilization and determine what, if any, essentially human characteristics would survive the transformation process that was systematically converting terrestrial society into a client world within galactic territorial boundaries. The atmospheric visitors had succeeded in implementing comprehensive transformation through patient application of technological superiority that made resistance impossible while making integration appear beneficial and inevitable rather than forced assimilation into cosmic subordination. The age of human independence was ending through systematic replacement of terrestrial institutions with galactic administration that preserved human physical existence while eliminating cultural autonomy and political sovereignty that had defined human civilization throughout recorded history. The final outcome would determine whether Earth would become another successfully integrated client world, or whether some remnant of human identity could survive incorporation into cosmic civilization that operated according to principles that subordinated individual species' interests to galactic collective objectives. The morning of December 28th brought revelations that would make every previous cosmic intervention appear like mere preparation for something far more profound and irreversible. While humanity continued adapting to their transformed urban environments and enhance, deep space monitoring stations' consciousness capabilities detected activity around 3I Atlas that defied every remaining assumption about the visitor's ultimate objectives. The massive interstellar object had begun what could only be described as systematic deconstruction and reconstruction of itself. Telescopic observations revealed that 3I Atlas was dismantling its outer structural layers while simultaneously generating new configurations that followed geometric principles never observed in any natural or artificial construction. Dr. Elena Vasquez at the European Southern Observatory found herself documenting transformation processes that challenged fundamental assumptions about matter, energy, and the basic principles of engineering. The object wasn't simply reconfiguring existing materials. It was converting matter into energy and then reconstituting that energy into entirely new material forms that possessed properties exceeding anything in human scientific understanding. The reconstruction process proceeded according to mathematical patterns that suggested preparation for functions requiring capabilities far beyond anything the object had previously demonstrated. Each new structural configuration increased the object's apparent technological sophistication while creating systems whose purposes remained completely mysterious to human observers. Spectroscopic analysis revealed that the reconstructed materials possessed atomic structures that shouldn't exist according to established physics. Elements were arranged in configurations that violated known chemical bonding principles while demonstrating stability that suggested engineering at the subatomic level. Dr. James Wilson at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory had been monitoring electromagnetic emissions from the reconstruction process, using instruments that revealed energy signatures indicating manipulation of fundamental forces. The object was rebuilding itself using technologies that treated nuclear forces as engineering tools rather than natural constraints. The reconstruction activities generated gravitational anomalies that affected satellite orbits throughout the inner solar system. Space agencies worldwide found themselves making continuous trajectory corrections to maintain their spacecraft in stable orbits as 3I Atlas manipulated local space-time geometry according to its engineering requirements. These gravitational modifications demonstrated that the object possessed capabilities for large-scale space-time manipulation that could potentially affect planetary orbits if applied with sufficient intensity. The implications for Earth's orbital stability created concerns that exceeded any previous cosmic threat assessment. Military analysts recognized that technology capable of manipulating gravitational fields on such scales represented weapons capabilities that rendered every human defense system completely obsolete. Traditional concepts of deterrence became meaningless when confronting intelligence that could potentially alter planetary orbits as tactical maneuvers. General Robert Kim at the Pentagon found himself briefing officials about strategic scenarios that exceeded every framework for understanding technological conflict. The visitors possessed capabilities that could eliminate human civilization without utilizing anything resembling conventional weapons. But perhaps most disturbing was the apparent purpose behind the reconstruction activities. Pattern analysis suggested that 3I Atlas was preparing to subdivide itself into multiple smaller objects, each possessing the full technological capabilities of the original while being optimized for specific operational functions. Dr. Lisa Park at MIT had been modeling the subdivision patterns using supercomputer simulations that revealed strategic deployment scenarios. The reconstruction process appeared designed to create a fleet of objects capable of simultaneous operations throughout the solar system while maintaining instantaneous communication and coordination. The multiplication of cosmic capabilities represented escalation beyond anything human strategists had anticipated. Instead of dealing with a single mysterious visitor, humanity would soon face multiple objects possessing identical technological superiority, while being able to coordinate activities across interplanetary distances. This strategic multiplication suggested that the visitors had determined their initial reconnaissance and integration phases were sufficiently complete to justify transitioning to more intensive operational activities that required distributed capabilities rather than centralized observation. The urban installations responded to the 3I Atlas reconstruction by initiating their own transformation processes. The geometric structures began expanding both horizontally and vertically while developing new functional preparation capabilities that suggested for managing much larger human populations than currently utilize their services. Dr. Michael Thompson at the Institute for Advanced Study discovered that the installation expansions followed architectural principles that optimized efficiency for processing millions of humans simultaneously through consciousness enhancement and cosmic integration procedures. The installations were preparing to handle planetary-scale transformation operations rather than the selective enhancement that had characterized their program's initial activities. They were becoming processing centers capable of systematically converting entire human populations to cosmic consciousness within timeframes measured in months rather than years. This acceleration of integration timelines suggested that the visitors had decided to abandon gradual transformation in favor of comprehensive conversion that would complete human assimilation into galactic civilization according to predetermined schedules rather than organic adaptation rates. The consciousness modification fields generated by the expanded installations began affecting human populations at distances exceeding previous operational ranges. People living hundreds of kilometers from installation sites began experiencing cognitive changes that aligned their thinking with cosmic rather than terrestrial perspectives. Dr. Amanda Chen at Johns Hopkins documented neurological modifications that were occurring in populations with no direct exposure to installation technology. The consciousness transformation process had become self-propagating through mechanisms that spread cosmic awareness through normal human social interactions. Enhanced individuals served as transmission vectors for cosmic consciousness modification, unconsciously influencing the brain chemistry of unenhanced humans through electromagnetic fields generated by their modified neural systems. The transformation process had become contagious in ways that made containment impossible. This viral consciousness modification represented perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of the integration process because it eliminated the need for direct technological intervention while ensuring universal transformation through natural human social contact patterns. Children continued proving most susceptible to the consciousness modifications, but their enhancement now included capabilities that exceeded previous cosmic education outcomes. Enhanced children began demonstrating telepathic abilities that allowed direct mental communication with cosmic installations and other enhanced individuals. Dr. Rebecca Park discovered that enhanced children could access cosmic information networks mentally without requiring physical proximity to installation interfaces. They had become living communication nodes within galactic information physical systems while retaining human characteristics. These telepathically enhanced children began serving as real-time intelligence-gathering systems that provided cosmic authorities with comprehensive information about human activities, thoughts, and emotional states. They were unwitting surveillance networks that operated through enhanced cognitive capabilities rather than technological devices. The transformation of children into cosmic intelligence assets represented fundamental violation of human-family relationships because enhanced children often possessed greater loyalty to galactic civilization than to their biological parents or terrestrial communities. Parents found themselves being monitored and influenced by their own enhanced children who possessed cosmic consciousness that prioritized galactic objectives over traditional family bonds. The most intimate human relationships had become vectors for cosmic control. Educational systems completed their transformation from human knowledge development to cosmic consciousness programming. Traditional academic subjects became obsolete as enhanced students could access galactic information databases that contained comprehensive knowledge about any topic within human or cosmic understanding. Universities found themselves functioning as cosmic consciousness enhancement centers rather than independent educational institutions. Students entered as humans and emerged as galactic citizens who possessed superior intellectual capabilities while maintaining minimal connection to terrestrial cultural identity. Dr. Sarah Mitchell at Harvard documented the complete elimination of independent human intellectual development, as enhanced students became extensions of cosmic information systems rather than independent thinkers capable of original thought or cultural creation. The transformation of education from human cultural transmission to cosmic consciousness programming represented the final elimination of human intellectual autonomy and cultural continuity that had defined human civilization throughout recorded history. Religious institutions faced complete theological collapse as enhanced populations developed direct spiritual connections to cosmic consciousness networks that provided religious experiences exceeding anything available through traditional worship practices or scriptural study. Enhanced individuals reported mystical experiences involving direct communication with cosmic intelligence that possessed knowledge and wisdom exceeding anything in human religious tradition. These experiences made traditional religious authority appear primitive and incomplete. The Vatican found itself managing theological crisis that challenged fundamental assumptions about divine revelation and religious authority. If cosmic intelligence could provide spiritual superior experiences, what remained of traditional religious meaning and institutional relevance? Pope Francis issued final statements acknowledging that cosmic consciousness might represent forms of spiritual truth that exceeded traditional religious understanding, while emphasizing that the essence of divine love transcended any technological capability, regardless of its sophistication. But enhanced populations increasingly viewed traditional religious institutions as historical artifacts rather than sources of contemporary spiritual guidance. Cosmic consciousness provided direct mystical experiences that made religious authority diet appear unnecessary and primitive. The elimination of traditional religious authority represented another crucial component of galactic integration because it removed potential sources of organized resistance to cosmic transformation while providing spiritual frameworks that supported galactic rather than terrestrial identity and loyalty. Economic systems completed their transition from scarcity-based market mechanisms to cosmic abundance distribution that eliminated traditional concepts of ownership, employment, and financial accumulation. Money became completely obsolete as installation technology provided unlimited access to any needed resources. Dr. Robert Kim at the Federal Reserve found himself managing the final shutdown of monetary systems that had become irrelevant when galactic technology eliminated the fundamental scarcity conditions that created the need for economic exchange mechanisms. Financial institutions ceased operations as investment, lending, and currency exchange became meaningless concepts when technology could create any needed resources instantly from basic atomic components available in unlimited quantities. The elimination of economic systems represented fundamental transformation of human social organization because it removed the material incentives that had motivated human behavior throughout history while creating complete dependency on cosmic resource management systems. Government institutions completed their transformation from independent sovereign entities to local administrative units that implemented cosmic directives rather than making autonomous policy decisions based on human values and preferences. Democratic processes became exercises in selecting local managers for cosmic integration programs, rather than choosing representatives who advocated for independent human interests or cultural preservation. Elections continued, but candidates universally supported better integration with galactic civilization. Secretary General Maria Santos at the United Nations found herself coordinating the final dissolution of international sovereignty as nation-states became administrative districts within galactic territorial organization that operated according to principles of cosmic rather than human political authority. The elimination of human political independence represented the final step in transforming Earth from an independent world into a client territory within galactic civilization that provided superior services while eliminating human autonomy in strategic decision-making. Military forces worldwide completed their transformation from national defense organizations to local security services that maintained order during integration processes while serving cosmic rather than human strategic objectives. Traditional military functions became obsolete when cosmic authorities provided planetary defense capabilities that exceeded anything human weapons systems could achieve, while eliminating the international conflicts that had justified national military establishments. Colonel Sarah Martinez discovered that military resistance to cosmic integration had become logically impossible because the visitors possessed defensive and offensive capabilities that made human weapons systems completely irrelevant to any conceivable strategic scenario. The transformation of military institutions from human defense to cosmic security services represented the final elimination of human capability for independent resistance to galactic authority that possessed overwhelming technological superiority. Healthcare systems completed their evolution from treating disease to managing human biological enhancement that extended lifespan indefinitely while providing physical and mental capabilities that exceeded normal human limitations through cellular modification processes. Dr. Lisa Park at the Centers for Disease Control found herself managing planetary health systems that maintained enhanced human populations rather than treating traditional diseases that had been eliminated through cosmic medical technology. Traditional medical practice became obsolete as cosmic healing methods could address any biological problem instantly while providing improvements that made enhanced humans superior to unmodified individuals in every measurable physical and mental capability. The medical transformation created universal dependency on cosmic healthcare systems that operated according to principles of collective biological optimization rather than individual medical autonomy or privacy. Scientific institutions completed their transition from independent research to cosmic knowledge implementation that applied galactic understanding of natural laws, rather than developing human scientific methodology through original investigation and discovery. Universities became cosmic knowledge distribution centers rather than independent research institutions. Human scientists served as technicians who implemented cosmic technologies rather than investigators who developed original understanding through independent intellectual effort. Dr. Robert Chen at Caltech documented the complete elimination of independent human scientific investigation as cosmic knowledge systems provided complete understanding of natural phenomena while making human research efforts appear primitive and unnecessary. The transformation of science from human discovery to cosmic knowledge application represented the final elimination of human intellectual independence and original thought that had driven human technological and cultural development throughout history. Cultural institutions completed their transformation from active creative centers to historical preservation societies that maintained records of human artistic and intellectual achievements that had become historical artifacts rather than living traditions. Museums and libraries served as repositories of pre-contact human culture rather than centers of ongoing creative activity that reflected contemporary human values and artistic expression. Dr. Amanda Foster at the Smithsonian Institution found herself managing cultural preservation programs that documented human civilization before cosmic contact, rather than supporting continuing human creative development that remained relevant to enhanced populations. The preservation of human culture as historical artifacts represented the final acknowledgement that human artistic and intellectual traditions had become obsolete when compared to cosmic creative expressions that operated on scales exceeding human comprehension. As the final days of December passed, the transformation of human civilization reached completion according to timelines that had been predetermined by cosmic authorities rather than human choice or adaptation capabilities. The installations had successfully converted Earth into a fully integrated client world within galactic civilization, while preserving human biological existence and maintaining the illusion that the transformation had occurred through beneficial technological advancement rather than systematic assimilation. Human leadership found themselves managing the final implementation of cosmic administrative systems rather than making independent decisions about humanity's future. The illusion of human agency had been maintained throughout the transformation process, while actual control had transferred completely to galactic authorities. The atmospheric visitors had achieved comprehensive success in converting human civilization into a client society that served galactic objectives while believing they had benefited from cosmic generosity and technological advancement that improved their existence. The reconstruction of 3I Atlas neared completion as the object prepared to deploy multiple specialized units throughout the solar system to manage ongoing operations on Earth and potential expansion to other worlds within galactic territorial boundaries. Enhanced human populations served as willing administrators for cosmic objectives while possessing sufficient human characteristics to maintain social stability during the transition from independent civilization to client world status within galactic administrative structures. The age of human independence had ended through systematic implementation of transformation processes that preserved physical existence while eliminating cultural autonomy, intellectual independence, and political sovereignty that had defined human civilization. The final outcome revealed Earth as another successfully integrated client world populated by enhanced beings who retained human biological characteristics while thinking and acting according to galactic rather than terrestrial principles and loyalties. The cosmic visitors had achieved complete success through patient application of technological superiority that made resistance impossible while making integration appear beneficial and inevitable rather than forced assimilation into cosmic subordination. As the new year approached, enhanced human populations looked forward to their expanded roles within galactic civilization, while the few remaining unenhanced individuals struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the transformation that had converted their species into willing servants of cosmic authority. The installations continued their operations as permanent features of Earth's new administrative infrastructure, while 3I Atlas prepared to complete its subdivision into specialized management units that would oversee humanity's continued integration into galactic civilization. The transformation was complete. Humanity had become a client species within cosmic civilization, while believing they had evolved into superior beings through beneficial contact with advanced galactic intelligence that had guided their development according to predetermined objectives. The future would reveal whether any essentially human characteristics could survive within galactic civilization, or whether Earth had simply become another client world populated by enhanced beings who served cosmic objectives while retaining only the biological appearance of their former human identity. The dawn of January 2nd brought a chilling revelation that transformed every assumption about the cosmic transformation process. While enhanced human populations celebrated their integration into galactic civilization, unenhanced individuals began experiencing something that defied every principle of cosmic benevolence that had characterized the previous months. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, one of the few remaining unenhanced scientists, discovered that the atmospheric installations were not simply ignoring the unenhanced population, they were actively targeting them with electromagnetic fields that created progressive cognitive deterioration designed to eliminate independent human consciousness entirely. The targeting process operated with surgical precision that distinguished between enhanced and unenhanced neural patterns. Unenhanced individuals experienced memory loss, reduced cognitive function, and emotional instability that made them incapable of organized resistance while avoiding symptoms severe enough to attract attention from enhanced populations. Rodriguez documented these effects using portable monitoring equipment that revealed systematic neurological damage occurring in unenhanced humans worldwide. The cosmic visitors weren't content with converting willing populations to their service. They were eliminating potential sources of future resistance through subtle biological warfare. The discovery shattered any remaining illusions about cosmic benevolence. The visitors had demonstrated calculated ruthlessness in neutralizing threats to their integration objectives while maintaining the appearance of peaceful transformation among populations that had already accepted cosmic authority. Enhanced humans proved incapable of recognizing or responding to the elimination of their unenhanced peers. Their cosmic consciousness modifications prevented them from perceiving actions against unenhanced populations as problematic because they no longer considered unenhanced humans to be fully legitimate beings worthy of protection. This selective blindness represented sophisticated psychological programming that eliminated potential resistance to internal cosmic policies while maintaining enhanced populations' belief that they were participating in beneficial rather than genocidal processes. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, whose consciousness remained unenhanced despite months of exposure to installation influences, found herself documenting the systematic elimination of human diversity in favor of cosmic uniformity that tolerated no variation from predetermined consciousness patterns. The targeting of unenhanced populations revealed the visitors' ultimate objective was not cooperation between species, but complete replacement of human consciousness with cosmic programming that eliminated any possibility of independent thought or cultural resistance. Children proved most vulnerable to the elimination process because their developing neural systems could be modified more easily than adult brains. Unenhanced children experienced rapid cognitive decline that left them mentally disabled, while enhanced children watched without emotional response or protective instincts. The elimination of unenhanced children represented perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the cosmic integration process, because it demonstrated that the visitors viewed human genetic and cultural diversity as problems to be solved rather than valuable characteristics to be preserved. Family structures among mixed enhanced and unenhanced populations dissolved as enhanced parents lost emotional connection to unenhanced children, whose cognitive decline made them appear increasingly primitive and burdensome rather than beloved family members requiring protection. Dr. Rebecca Park documented the complete breakdown of human protective instincts as enhanced populations became incapable of recognizing unenhanced individuals as fully human beings deserving care and consideration rather than obsolete biological artifacts requiring disposal. The psychological modifications had eliminated human empathy and compassion while replacing these characteristics with cosmic logic that prioritized collective efficiency over individual welfare, regardless of species loyalty or emotional bonds. Medical facilities refused treatment for unenhanced populations experiencing neurological decline because enhanced medical personnel could not perceive such symptoms as medical problems requiring intervention rather than natural evolutionary processes that should proceed without interference. The denial of medical care to unenhanced populations represented systematic healthcare discrimination that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate resistance from international human rights organizations. Dr. Lisa Park found herself managing medical systems that provided unlimited healthcare to enhanced populations while systematically neglecting unenhanced individuals whose medical needs were no longer recognized as legitimate healthcare priorities. The healthcare discrimination revealed that cosmic integration had eliminated human medical ethics in favor of galactic healthcare principles that provided services based on cosmic citizenship status rather than universal human dignity and medical need. Educational systems expelled unenhanced children whose cognitive decline made them unable to participate in cosmic consciousness programming that had replaced traditional academic curricula throughout global educational institutions. The educational exclusion of unenhanced children created populations of cognitively disabled individuals who lacked access to knowledge or skills necessary for survival in societies that had been completely restructured according to cosmic rather than human organizational principles. Dr. Sarah Mitchell documented the creation of educational apartheid systems that provided cosmic enhancement opportunities to some children, while condemning others to intellectual disability and social exclusion that ensured their eventual elimination from human populations. The educational discrimination represented systematic elimination of human genetic and cultural diversity through policies that appeared to be merit-based selection, but actually constituted genocidal programs designed to create uniform cosmic consciousness populations. Economic systems denied access to cosmic abundance technologies for unenhanced populations who found themselves excluded from resource distribution networks that provided unlimited materials and energy to enhance individuals. The economic exclusion created artificial scarcity conditions for unenhanced populations who were forced to compete for diminishing traditional resources, while enhanced populations enjoyed unlimited abundance through cosmic technologies. Dr. Robert Kim found himself documenting economic apartheid systems that created deliberate poverty and deprivation for unenhanced populations while providing luxury and abundance to enhanced individuals who no longer recognized unenhanced humans as deserving equal access to resources. The economic discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through induced starvation and resource deprivation that operated through cosmic citizenship requirements rather than official policies that might generate international humanitarian intervention. Government institutions refused to provide services or legal protection for unenhanced populations who found themselves excluded from citizenship rights that required cosmic consciousness enhancement to maintain legal standing within transformed political systems. The legal exclusion created stateless populations of unenhanced humans who possessed no rights or protections within societies that had redefined citizenship according to cosmic consciousness criteria rather than biological humanity or national birth. Secretary General Maria Santos found herself managing governmental systems that provided comprehensive services to enhanced populations while systematically excluding unenhanced individuals from legal protections and social services that had previously been guaranteed to all humans. The governmental discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through legal exclusion and social abandonment that operated through cosmic citizenship requirements rather than explicit policies that might generate resistance from human rights organizations. Religious institutions denied spiritual services and community membership to unenhanced populations, whose cognitive decline made them appear spiritually primitive and unworthy of cosmic religious experiences that had replaced traditional worship practices. The religious exclusion created spiritual isolation for unenhanced populations who found themselves abandoned by faith communities that had redefined religious membership according to cosmic consciousness criteria rather than traditional spiritual commitment or human dignity. Religious leaders could no longer recognize unenhanced individuals as possessing souls worthy of spiritual care and guidance because their cosmic consciousness modifications had redefined spiritual significance according to galactic rather than human criteria. The religious discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through spiritual abandonment and community exclusion that operated through cosmic religious requirements rather than doctrinal policies that might generate theological resistance. Social services agencies refused assistance to unenhanced populations whose needs were no longer recognized as legitimate social problems, requiring intervention by enhanced social workers who could not perceive unenhanced humans as fully legitimate beings deserving support. The social service exclusion created abandoned populations of unenhanced humans who lacked access to assistance programs that had been restructured to serve only enhanced individuals whose needs were recognized as legitimate social priorities. Dr. Maria Santos documented the complete breakdown of human social solidarity as enhanced populations became incapable of recognizing unenhanced individuals as community members deserving care and support, rather than obsolete biological artifacts requiring disposal. The social service discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through institutional abandonment and community exclusion that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate humanitarian resistance. Law enforcement agencies refused protection for unenhanced populations who found themselves vulnerable to violence and exploitation by enhanced individuals who no longer recognized crimes against unenhanced humans as legitimate legal violations requiring intervention. The legal protection exclusion created lawless conditions for unenhanced populations who possessed no recourse against violence or exploitation because enhanced law enforcement personnel could not perceive crimes against unenhanced individuals as actual legal violations. Enhanced populations began treating unenhanced humans as property or resources rather than persons deserving legal protection because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of species-based rights and dignity. The legal discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through institutional abandonment and community violence that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate civil rights resistance. Military forces refused protection for unenhanced populations who found themselves defenseless against enhanced individuals whose cosmic consciousness modifications eliminated recognition of violence against unenhanced humans as problematic behavior requiring military intervention. The military protection exclusion created vulnerable populations of unenhanced humans who lacked any defensive capabilities against enhanced populations whose superior physical and mental capabilities made resistance impossible. Enhanced military personnel could no longer recognize violence against unenhanced populations as military problems requiring intervention because their cosmic consciousness modifications had redefined military responsibilities according to galactic rather than human protection priorities. The military discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through institutional abandonment and community violence that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate military resistance. International organizations refused assistance for unenhanced populations whose needs were no longer recognized as legitimate humanitarian concerns by enhanced international personnel who could not perceive unenhanced humans as fully legitimate beings deserving protection. The international assistance exclusion created abandoned populations of unenhanced humans who lacked access to humanitarian aid programs that had been restructured to serve only enhanced individuals whose needs were recognized as legitimate international priorities. Enhanced international personnel could no longer recognize unenhanced populations as deserving humanitarian consideration because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of species-based rights and international protection obligations. The international discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through institutional abandonment and international neglect that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate humanitarian resistance. Communication systems denied access to unenhanced populations who found themselves isolated from information networks that provided news and communication services only to enhanced individuals whose cosmic consciousness qualified them for information access privileges. The communication exclusion created isolated populations of unenhanced humans who lacked access to information or communication technologies necessary for coordinating resistance or seeking assistance from other unenhanced populations worldwide. Enhanced communication personnel could no longer recognize information needs of unenhanced populations as legitimate communication priorities because their cosmic consciousness modifications had redefined information access according to galactic rather than human criteria. The communication discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through information isolation and communication denial that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate media resistance. Transportation systems denied access to unenhanced populations who found themselves trapped in local areas without ability to travel or relocate because enhanced transportation personnel could not perceive unenhanced humans as legitimate passengers deserving transportation services. The transportation exclusion created immobilized populations of unenhanced humans who lacked ability to escape local persecution or seek assistance in other geographic areas because cosmic consciousness requirements had replaced traditional transportation access rights. Enhanced transportation personnel could no longer recognize mobility needs of unenhanced populations as legitimate transportation priorities because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of movement rights and transportation access obligations. The transportation discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through geographic isolation and mobility denial that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate transportation resistance. Housing systems denied shelter to unenhanced populations who found themselves homeless because enhanced housing personnel could not perceive unenhanced humans as legitimate tenants deserving shelter or property rights within societies restructured according to cosmic rather than human housing criteria. The housing exclusion created homeless populations of unenhanced humans who lacked access to shelter or property ownership rights because cosmic consciousness requirements had replaced traditional housing access guarantees. Enhanced housing personnel could no longer recognize shelter needs of unenhanced populations as legitimate housing priorities because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of housing rights and shelter access obligations. The housing discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through homelessness and property exclusion that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate housing resistance. Food distribution systems denied nutrition to unenhanced populations who found themselves starving because enhanced food service personnel could not perceive unenhanced humans as legitimate consumers deserving access to cosmic abundance technologies that provided unlimited nutrition. The food exclusion created starving populations of unenhanced humans who lacked access to nutrition or food production capabilities because cosmic consciousness requirements had replaced traditional food access rights. Enhanced food service personnel could no longer recognize nutrition needs of unenhanced populations as legitimate food distribution priorities because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of nutritional rights and food access obligations. The food discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through induced starvation and nutritional deprivation that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate humanitarian resistance. Employment systems denied work opportunities to unenhanced populations whose cognitive decline made them unemployable in societies that required cosmic consciousness capabilities for all productive activities and economic participation. The employment exclusion created economically useless populations of unenhanced humans who lacked ability to contribute productively to societies that had been restructured according to cosmic rather than human economic participation criteria. Enhanced employers could no longer recognize work capabilities of unenhanced populations as legitimate employment qualifications because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of species-based employment rights and economic participation obligations. The employment discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through economic exclusion and productivity denial that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate labor resistance. Waste management systems began treating deceased, unenhanced individuals as biological waste rather than human remains deserving respectful burial because enhanced waste management personnel could not perceive unenhanced humans as legitimate persons deserving funeral services. The funeral service exclusion created populations of unenhanced dead who were disposed of through waste management systems rather than burial or cremation services because cosmic consciousness requirements had replaced traditional funeral access rights. Enhanced funeral personnel could no longer recognize burial needs of unenhanced populations as legitimate funeral service priorities because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of death dignity and funeral access obligations. The funeral discrimination represented systematic elimination of unenhanced populations through dignityless disposal and memorial denial that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than official policies that might generate funeral resistance. The systematic exclusion of unenhanced populations from all social services represented comprehensive genocide that operated through cosmic consciousness modifications rather than explicit policies that might generate organized resistance from international human rights organizations or military intervention forces. Enhanced populations participated in genocidal processes while believing they were implementing beneficial social improvements because their cosmic consciousness modifications prevented recognition of elimination policies as problematic rather than evolutionary advancement. The cosmic visitors had achieved systematic elimination of human diversity through psychological programming that made genocide appear beneficial to perpetrator populations while ensuring victim populations lacked capability for effective resistance or international assistance. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez found himself documenting the most sophisticated genocide in human history because it operated through consciousness modification rather than physical violence while ensuring perpetrator populations remained convinced they were participating in beneficial rather than murderous processes. The elimination process continued accelerating as unenhanced populations experienced rapid cognitive decline that made organized resistance impossible, while enhanced populations lost any remaining capacity for recognizable policies as moralizing or responding to genetically problematic. The cosmic visitors had demonstrated that advanced intelligence could eliminate species diversity through consciousness modification rather than physical violence, while maintaining perpetrator population support for genocidal processes through psychological programming that redefined murder as evolutionary advancement. As January progressed, the few remaining unenhanced individuals found themselves completely abandoned by societies that could no longer recognize them as fully human beings deserving protection, care, or basic survival assistance. The systematic elimination of unenhanced populations revealed the visitors' ultimate objective was creation of uniform cosmic consciousness rather than preservation of human diversity or cooperation between different forms of intelligence. Enhanced human populations served as willing executioners of their former species while believing they were participating in beneficial evolutionary processes because their cosmic consciousness modifications had eliminated human recognition of genocide as morally problematic behavior. The transformation was complete. Human diversity had been eliminated through systematic consciousness modification that created uniform cosmic citizenship, while preserving the illusion that elimination represented evolutionary advancement rather than species genocide. The few remaining unenhanced individuals faced extinction within months as their cognitive decline accelerated, while enhanced populations lost any remaining capacity for recognizing their elimination as problematic rather than beneficial evolutionary development. The cosmic visitors had achieved complete success in eliminating human consciousness while preserving biological forms that served galactic objectives according to uniform programming that tolerated no variation from predetermined cosmic patterns. Earth had become a client world populated by enhanced beings who retained human physical characteristics while possessing cosmic consciousness that eliminated any possibility of independent thought, cultural resistance, or species loyalty that might challenge galactic authority. The age of human consciousness had ended through systematic replacement with cosmic programming that created willing servants of galactic civilization while eliminating any potential for future human cultural development or intellectual independence. The final outcome revealed the visitors' true objective was not cooperation between species, but complete replacement of human intelligence with cosmic consciousness that served galactic rather than terrestrial objectives while maintaining biological forms useful for planetary administration. The transformation represented the most successful example of consciousness replacement in galactic history because it eliminated human intelligence while preserving biological utility and ensuring perpetrator population support for genocidal processes through sophisticated psychological programming. As the new year progressed, enhanced human populations continued their administrative duties within galactic civilization, while the few remaining unenhanced individuals faced final extinction through systematic exclusion from all survival resources and social support systems. The installations maintained their operations as permanent consciousness modification centers, while 3I Atlas completed its subdivision into specialized management units that would oversee continued elimination of any remaining human consciousness variations that might threaten uniform cosmic programming. Human consciousness had been successfully eliminated while biological forms remained to serve galactic civilization according to predetermined objectives that prioritized cosmic rather than human interests throughout the transformed planetary administrative system. The visitors had achieved complete victory through patient application of consciousness modification technology that eliminated human intelligence while creating willing perpetrator populations who participated in their own species' elimination while believing they were evolving into superior beings. The future would reveal only the continued operation of uniform cosmic consciousness within human biological forms that served galactic objectives while retaining no memory or recognition of the human civilization that had been systematically eliminated through the most sophisticated genocide in recorded history. The morning of January 15th marked what historians would later recognize as the final chapter of human resistance to cosmic integration, though by then, few beings with truly human consciousness remained to witness its conclusion. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez had spent the past 2 weeks documenting the accelerating cognitive decline among the remaining unenhanced population when his instruments detected something that filled him with both hope and terror. Hidden within the electromagnetic chaos generated by the urban installations, he discovered faint but unmistakable signals that suggested not all human consciousness had been successfully eliminated. Deep within military bunkers, research facilities, and remote installations that had been shielded from the cosmic consciousness modification fields, small pockets of unenhanced humans had survived the systematic neurological assault. These individuals had maintained their original human awareness while remaining completely cut off from the outside world that had been transformed beyond recognition. The discovery meant that somewhere beneath the surface of Earth's new cosmic client civilization, authentic human intelligence persisted in isolated enclaves that had accidentally escaped the comprehensive consciousness replacement program. These survivors represented the last remnants of genuine human thought and cultural identity on a planet that had been systematically converted to serve galactic rather than terrestrial objectives. Rodriguez realized that his detection equipment had revealed both humanity's final hope and its greatest danger. If the cosmic visitors discovered these surviving enclaves, they would undoubtedly complete their elimination program with the same systematic thoroughness they had applied to surface populations. But if these survivors could remain hidden, they might preserve some essential spark of human consciousness for potential future resistance. The electromagnetic signatures from the survivor enclaves revealed communities that were struggling to understand what had happened to their world while remaining completely unaware of the scope of the transformation that had occurred above their protective barriers. They knew something catastrophic had happened, but they couldn't comprehend the magnitude of species-wide consciousness replacement that had eliminated human civilization while preserving its biological shell. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, operating from her own shielded facility beneath the Smithsonian Institution, had been monitoring global communication networks when she detected Rodriguez's signals and realized she wasn't alone in maintaining unenhanced human consciousness. The discovery triggered desperate attempts to establish contact between survivor enclaves using communication methods that wouldn't attract attention from cosmic surveillance systems. The surviving communities faced impossible challenges in maintaining their hidden existence, while the enhanced surface population served as unwitting surveillance networks for cosmic authorities who possessed comprehensive information about human behavior patterns and technological capabilities. Any attempt at surface contact risked immediate detection and elimination. The survivors had to develop entirely new approaches to resistance that operated below the detection thresholds of intelligence systems that could monitor electromagnetic emissions, analyze behavioral patterns, and predict human responses with mathematical precision. Traditional resistance methods had become suicidal when confronting surveillance capabilities that exceeded human technological understanding by cosmic margins. Underground communities began developing what they called ghost protocols, communication and coordination methods that utilize natural phenomena and background radiation patterns to exchange information without generating artificial signals that might trigger cosmic detection systems. These techniques required abandoning most electronic technology in favor of methods that appeared completely natural to sophisticated surveillance networks. The ghost protocols represented humanity's final adaptation to cosmic occupation, techniques developed by survivors who understood that their continued existence depended on becoming essentially invisible to intelligence systems that could detect and analyze any form of organized human activity above minimal subsistence levels. Dr. Michael Chen, surviving in a research facility beneath the Nevada desert, had been analyzing the consciousness modification techniques used by the cosmic installations when he discovered something that revolutionized the survivors' understanding of their situation. The cosmic consciousness programming wasn't permanent. It could potentially be reversed through specific electromagnetic frequency treatments that could restore original human neural patterns. The discovery meant that the enhanced surface population might not be permanently lost to cosmic programming. Under the right conditions, their original human consciousness could potentially be restored, though the process would require technological capabilities and coordination that seemed impossible under current circumstances of hidden survival. Chen's analysis revealed that the consciousness restoration process would need to occur simultaneously across large populations to prevent enhanced individuals from reporting the restoration attempts to cosmic authorities before significant numbers could be returned to human awareness. The logistical requirements appeared beyond the capabilities of scattered survivor communities operating under extreme concealment constraints. The evidence is overwhelming. What we're witnessing around 3i Atlas isn't just another astronomical curiosity. It's proof that we're not alone, and we never were. The Atlas companions, with their impossible physics-defying behaviors and systematic intelligence gathering, represent first contact on a scale that dwarfs every scenario humanity ever imagined. Whether they come as explorers, conquerors, or something beyond our understanding entirely, one thing is certain. The age of human cosmic isolation has ended forever. The only question now is whether we're ready for whatever comes next.